Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Championship Sunday at Blanchard Woods Park in Evans, Georgia, as we get set for the men's final between the regular season champion Lander Bearcats and the third-seeded North Georgia Nighthawks. Walker McCreary and Rickson Lane here on the call for this men's championship game. And earlier in the season, Rickson, these two teams had an absolute great game over in Dahlonega, a 1-0 overtime win for the Bearcats, but it took a lot for Lander to be able to find the back of the net.
It was a great matchup between these two squads. Lander getting the game-winning goal from Robbie Young in the 92nd minute. They pull out what was a very difficult win against that North Georgia team. And I got to tell you, Walker, coming into this matchup, you've got a contest between two teams that made it to this championship in very different ways. North Georgia came out with their hair on fire Friday night against Young Harris. They put up 3 quick goals and really just bunkered down the rest of the way and wouldn't allow the Mountain Lions to rally. Meanwhile, Lander, a somewhat slow start. They were outplayed in the opening 30-35 minutes against Clayton State, and then they explode for 5 goals in the second period. I'll be really interested to see which team sets the tone early in this matchup in this championship. Having
talked to Coach Pat Paris earlier this weekend, this is the first time that the Nighthawks have ever been in this position. On the flip side, Lander having been here, this is their 3rd consecutive trip to the tournament championship, yet to win one. They've ran up against a buzzsaw in Young Harris 2 years in a row. This time it's a different opponent, but a team that just beat Young Harris. Like you said, it's going to be very interesting to look at who sets the pace in this one. And for North Georgia, it's been a while since they've beaten the Bearcats. Since 2011 was the last time that they beat Lander University.
And for the Bearcats, as they come into this matchup, it's a matter of making sure that I think they understand, talking to some of the players and talking to head coach Lee Squires, this is not new to them anymore. They're not happy to be in this championship anymore. It reminds me a lot of what we saw from Lander when they won the regular season title. Last year, when they go on the road, they beat Montevallo to win that championship, stormed the field, very excited. This year, they went on the road to Georgia Southwestern, won their 2nd conference championship. Very muted celebration, not a lot of high-fiving, not a lot of jumping up and down, knowing that the championship was nice. They had a goal of getting to the tournament and winning the tournament, and I think you saw the same thing from them on Friday night. Happy to be in the championship, but not satisfied to just get to this title because they've done it 3 years in a row now. They want to win one.
Now, one storyline we will be watching throughout this matchup tomorrow is the selection show for the national tournament. North Georgia unranked in the latest region rankings. They have not been ranked at all this season. Lander at 5. So this is a very interesting game in that North Georgia not even predicted to be here. They will take somebody's spot with the automatic qualifier for the first time this year in the Peach Belt Conference.
And for the Bearcats, they're happy to be here. They're happier maybe that Young Harris is not here because that's a team that was ranked ahead of them in the region all season long. And you felt like if you're Lander, if Young Harris knocks us out again in the tournament championship, and we're kind of a bubble team right now, maybe that's enough to keep us out. They feel like having outlasted Young Harris in this tournament, it helps their chances. They would love to not have any sort of worry tomorrow night and get this tournament title. And as you said, there's a lot of teams around the region right now that are watching this matchup and hoping North Georgia doesn't win because they could be staying home if the Nighthawks get the title.
Well, and to recap the first game that we saw here today at Blanchard Woods Park, there are a few teams on the women's side that are now trying to figure out, well, are we in, are we not, after UNC Pembroke pulls off a massive upset, running through the Peach Belt Conference tournament without giving up a goal, beating Columbus State 1-0 in the championship matchup. So now there are a few teams that were on the bubble that their spot is taken, and now it's shaky who's in, who's not.
And that could have a big impact on Columbus State's path to a title, to the national championship, because they may have played themselves out of potentially hosting a regional. They were a team that was thought they're going to go to the conference tournament, and when North Georgia, the top seed and the regular season champion, did not make it to today, a lot of people thought, well, Columbus State's going to get their championship, and they're going to get a host spot. Well, now UNC Pembroke beats them, and now the Cougars are wondering, are they going to have to go on the road perhaps? These matchups and this new, on the men's side, the new automatic qualifier, it changes the entire dynamic of the NCAA tournament.
Starters walking out onto the field right now as we take a look at them. You and I talked yesterday at the Breakfast of Champions, which, again, a huge success for the Peach Belt Conference. Dean Cowdroy in goal. He's been in and out of goal for Coach Lee Squires all season, the sophomore from Australia. He played against North Georgia back on October 4th, pitched a shutout, got the clean sheet, but then shortly thereafter he was pulled for a few games before being reinserted earlier this week.
Cowdroy's put up 5 shutouts this year on the season. He had not started. This is going to be his first start in, I believe, 5 matches. The Bearcats had gone to freshman Alexander Holbo, but they're going back to Dean Cowdroy here in the championship. He's 10-1-1 this year as a starting goalkeeper, and even though he's a sophomore, he's been their starter all of last season, the majority of this season. He's far and away their most experienced and most technically sound goalkeeper, and Lee Squires is going to count on him to shake some of that rust off and be ready to take on an aggressive Nighthawk team today.
And on the flip side, in between the posts for the Nighthawks, number 1, Matt Sharman, the first-team all-conference goalkeeper who kept Young Harris off the scoreboard, kept USC Aiken off the scoreboard. He'll be looking to finish the tournament with 3 straight clean sheets if he's able to hold off a very high-powered Lander offense that, like you said earlier, scored 5 goals in the semi.
When Sharman took on Lander in the first matchup that you talked about earlier this season down in Dahlonega, it was a very impressive performance from him as well. He came up with 6 saves in that matchup. Actually had more saves than Cowdroy did. Lander outshot North Georgia 14-10 in that contest, 7 shots on goal against 5 from the Nighthawks. So both these keepers should come into this matchup with a lot of confidence facing their respective opponents. 2
key players to watch in this one. First for Lander, number 19, Thibaut Christian, who is a very high, I believe he was freshman of the year, if my memory serves correctly. For North Georgia, it'll be Ivan Achimovic. He has a Band-Aid, as you can see on his head right now on the near side. Number 22, after head-to-head contact with one of Young Harris's players, he is in the starting lineup full strength. So the 2 offensive players for both Lander and North Georgia going to be great matchups to watch today.
Yeah, Achimovic, a little wounded in the Battle of Blood Mountain on Friday night, but a huge part of this North Georgia attack, obviously. And Chrétien, the co-freshman of the year in the league, he took on fellow co-freshman of the year from Clayton State, Mitro Turunen, on Friday. Chrétien was the one who had an assist in that match, kind of got the Bearcats rolling, and you'll see throughout the afternoon they want to get the ball out to him on the wing in space and let the freshman from France decide how they're going to attack. He is a real cog in this offensive attack for Lander.
A lot of blue around Blanchard Woods Park. North Georgia blue, Lander blue. North Georgia will wear their road gray uniforms that have blue near the top. The black numbers a little difficult to read on the front, but easy to read on the back. For Lander, they wear their home whites with the navy blue shorts and the navy blue numbers, Lander, written across the back plates for both teams as they sit in their final huddles, getting ready to get things kicked off. North Georgia will move from left to right, the same direction that they moved on Friday when they scored those 3 goals.
And for the Bearcats, they will be going right to left in this one. That's the direction they went when they exploded. So both teams are happy with the alignment of the field here early on as we get set for this championship and what is going to be the final match of the weekend, the 10th year here at Blanchard Woods Park, and what a fabulous host it has been for the Peach Belt Conference Tournament, now going on 10 seasons.
Alex Grant running on to the pitch a little late, had to get his hard cast on his left wrist padded a little bit as he sustained another injury sustained in the Battle of Blood Mountain. He only played 45 minutes, as did Daniel Bennett, who both were on yellow during that Young Harris matchup. So got some fresh legs out there, having not played all 90 minutes. I'm sure that Coach Pat Paris is excited about that as North Georgia will get the first touch. Alex Grant will get us started. The whistle is the only thing we're waiting on. There it is, and we are underway on the final championship match of the 2017 Peach Belt Conference Soccer Tournaments. Christian trying to get settled in for Lander. North Georgia comes up with it. Alex Grant trying to get it outside to Achimovic. Out wide, Daniel Joyce, and now North Georgia will try and settle with Ludwig Eriksson, but Lander going to earn a throw as the pressure for Lander kept North Georgia from getting off a lot of shots on a team that loves to try and get shots and be high-powered.
Yeah, Nighthawks going to try to break down what the unit for the Bearcats, the backline's calling the Great Wall of Lander. They pride themselves on being one of the most physical defenses and one of the most aggressive defenses in the conference. And they're going to be relied on very heavily in this one as the Bearcats don't want North Georgia to build on that momentum they earned during the first half in the semifinal win over Young Harris.
North Georgia playing the ball through their midfield as they have all year. Ludwig Eriksson, Adam Farrell, Ivan Achimovic working back into the midfield as a foul called. Ludwig Eriksson down. He's been a little banged up all season. He's been playing pretty solidly, and now our lead official having a word with, I believe, Achimovic and Eriksson, make sure he's okay as the clock stopped just under 2 minutes into this one. North Georgia will get a free kick. Jordan Day will take it. He scored one of the goals Friday night for the Nighthawks, the third goal, in fact, that really put the Mountain Lions away. Free kick sent to the near side, trying to get it to Alex Grant. He heads it on. Michael Akin trying to get position, but Richard Bryan will clear it away for the Bearcats as the Nighthawks will reset.
Two of the top scoring offenses in the Peach Belt Conference. You see Cowdroy race out to collect that one. Lander leading the conference right now. They score 2.8 goals per match. North Georgia not far behind at 2.3. Defensively in this contest, we talked about the abilities of the two keepers in Sharman and Cowdroy. Bearcats second in the league in goals allowed, 1.2 given up per match. North Georgia just a shade under 1.5.
A missed clearance by Daniel Bennett, first-team all-conference defender. He gets possession back, and Sharman will boot it away. But straight out of play, Lander going to have really their first attack of the match as North Georgia controlled the early possession in the first 2 minutes. Now Lander settling in, and they'll get an opportunity.
This is a Lander team that at times this year, Walker, has not been the fastest starting club. We saw it on Friday against Clayton State. There have been some matches this year. The season opener against Shawan, they fell behind quickly 2-0. Fell behind against Queens 2-0 in a loss at home a few weeks back. This is a team that sometimes, not necessarily sloppy early, but maybe not as crisp and aggressive as they typically are. And you cannot afford to do that here on the Peach Belt Conference Championship field.
Here's Ludwig Eriksson trying to weave through some of that great wall of Lander. Now Akin in the near corner goes back over to Farrell. Farrell tried to give it right back. It was a little behind the speedster from London. Ludwig Eriksson comes up with it. Here's Achimovic out wide to Daniel Joyce. He'll quickly try and send it in, but missed the kick by just a little bit. Comes right back out to him. North Georgia trying to earn a foul, and they will. Grant went down hard. And the first opportunity for a set piece for Coach Pat Paris and his Nighthawk squad. Paris in his 11th season at the helm of the Nighthawks, their first championship appearance in the history of the program.
A fantastic run to the conference championship by Paris' squad. Always fun to see how teams in an environment they've never been in before, how will they respond? And to the Nighthawks' credit, not looking the least bit nervous here in this championship.
Bennett's shot goes wide left, but it was pushed out by Cowdroy. I don't think it would have been in the net. It might have hit the post. Cowdroy made sure it played safe and concedes a corner to Gabriel Garcia. Played on a yellow for the entire match against Young Harris on Friday night. The transfer from Brevard sends it in toward the back post. Evan Davis trying to head it back in front. Cowdroy comes up off his line.
And Cowdroy wanted to try to quickly whip that ball out to Cretin with a lot of traffic, and sophomore's going to calm everyone down for a moment, let Lander try to put together an attack. We haven't really seen Lander make a charge at the Nighthawk goal yet, as North Georgia has controlled the area of the pitch so far in the opening 5 minutes of this one.
Both teams trying to settle in, set their own pace, as Cowdroy will send it toward midfield. North Georgia has definitely tried to push the tempo a little bit more so in the early goings. As a foul going to be called on Gabe Garcia. He shows off a little bit of a temper as our lead official is going to give a stern warning to Gabe Garcia.
Casey Black trying to get control of this match early on. And assistant referees Wes Williams and Brian Grozdanoff. Tariq Villadar is the alternate. I don't blame him. This is a situation, especially coming off the type of match that Young Harris and North Georgia played on Friday night, very physical and a match that got a little chippy at times. You don't want a conference title marred by any incidents, and a good idea by Mr. Black to set a tone here in the first 5 minutes.
Great run by Sam Lofts down into the corner. He'll wait for some reinforcements. Drill it back out toward the top of the 18 now, has some space, working it to Central. Now he'll send it back to Richard Bryan. Bryan to Chrétien. And it's sent out by Akin. Chrétien, very speedy. He gets it into the middle with no Nighthawks around him. Achimovic comes up to make a play as they were trying to get it to Kavesith. Now, and North Georgia will earn a throw.
Good crowds from both schools represented here this afternoon. Saw a bunch of Nighthawks in the stands across the way, and we're on the near hill. Bearcat women's soccer and softball teams have both shown up as well, so we've had good attendance. We saw great environment for the women's championship between Pembroke and Columbus State. We got another good crowd here for the men's title match.
Evan Davis finds Adam Farrell in the middle, sending it out wide to Achimovic. As I mentioned, North Georgia loves to play through their midfielders. Garcia a little heavy on the touch. It's sent out by Tyler Bolton. Achimovic comes up with it. We'll work it toward Akin. Garcia tried to send in a rocket before it hit the ground. It was cleared out by the back line of Lander. Evan Davis will try and send it right back up.
And Folger was there to kind of bail Bryan out there. He wanted to clear it and just skimmed it off the edge of his cleat, went straight up in the air, and there were two Nighthawk attackers in the area, and Folger did a nice job of getting in the way of that second shot attempt.
Folger heads it to Richard Bryan, who sends it right out of play. Evan Davis coming down to throw it in. He has the power to get it into the middle of the box. He'll go to Ludwig Eriksson, out wide again to Davis. The sophomore from Griffin tries to cross it in. Here's Ludwig Eriksson, unable to keep up with it. He'll commit the foul on Richard Bryan.
It wrapped him up around the shoulders a little bit as Bryan tried to get out of there. And Bryan's a defender that is not shy about getting out into the attack and sort of running the point, if you will, for Lander offensively. He's a young man that has had a knack for finding open teammates and occasionally putting the ball in the back of the net as well. You don't want him to get out and run, so not necessarily a bad foul there as Lander tries to push it forward.
Flicked along by Cox Ashwood. Now he'll take it down into the near side corner, marked by Davis and Ludwig Eriksson. Here's Chrétien trying to chip it into the middle, and Achimovic coming all the way across to make the play. Garcia working it to Grant. Grant, the forward for Coach Paris, who will hold and try and possess up top while waiting for some fellow teammates to make a run. Bad pass. Chrétien comes up with it. He'll take it into the 18. Shot with the left foot goes across. Missed clearance, and the shot wide as Matt Sharman did not like the clearance from Jordan Day. The shot just wide of the post to the right.
Yeah, Cox Ashwood going to be kicking himself for that one. Had an open look right in front of the net, one-on-one with Sharman. And that's a freshman in his first ever championship match at the collegiate level. Might have had a little too much testosterone flowing there as he had a really good look and really didn't even test Sharman as that one sailed high and wide.
First team all-conference goalkeeper will send it to the far sideline. Alex Grant with the bicycle kick down the sideline, forcing Lander to play it back to Dean Caldroy. And North Georgia will earn a throw. Gabe Garcia trying to keep possession. George Knight pushes him off the ball, and then will earn a throw.
Nighthawks out shooting Lander thus far 2-1. And Caldroy's had to make a pair of saves so far for the Bearcats. Sharman yet to really be tested thus far.
Here's Alex Grant, wrapped and trying to play advantage, and a corner kick is earned. Coach Paris and company wanted a card on it, but the advantage is played to North Georgia, who will get the corner.
I think that was Skelton Bearcat captain that was defending there, and I got to tell you, Walker, I'm a little surprised we didn't see a whistle at minimum, as that was not a very subtle takedown by the junior, and that's a man that Lander does not want to get into any sort of trouble. The leader of that back line, 2-year captain now for the Bearcats and Lee Squires, and he's really the general for the Bearcats, and they need to keep him on the pitch.
Second corner kick of the match for North Georgia. Garcia again going back post, trying to find Achimovic. Now Bennett will throw it down with a header, but they say the elbow's a little high, and it'll be a foul inside the 18 on North Georgia.
Well, early on, the Nighthawks putting the pressure on Lander's defense. That's their second corner kick of the match. Yet to convert, but they have really controlled the tempo of this match, and they've also controlled where this game has been played thus far. A lot of opportunities in and around the 18 box of Lander. Bearcats would like to try to kind of flip the field position, if you will, try to make the Nighthawk defense sweat here a little bit. They haven't had to do a ton.
Nearly an 11.5 minutes gone in the first half of our men's championship match between North Georgia and Lander, the 1 and 3 seeds. Down in the corner, Kavesith, pressured by Dan Joyce. Now Achimovic comes in. There's a lot of pushing and shoving. No whistle from Casey Black. Cross coming in, trying to find Chrétien. It's brought all the way out. Michael Akin trying to speed out. Chrétien comes up with it again. And the shot taken by Lofts, deflected right into the hands of Matt Sharman.
Chrétien going to have a tough time on those crosses, as Kavesith tried to put it in the box for the co-freshman of the year in the league, but he's giving up a sizable height difference to Evan Davis, and Davis able to crowd him out there and easily head that opportunity away from North Georgia's defense.
Evan Davis at 6 feet tall on that back line, a very tall back line for the Nighthawks. You look at Davis 6 foot, Dan Bennett 6'1", Jordan Day 6 feet, and Daniel Joyce 5'10" on the far side. You also look at Lander's back line, every bit as tall as the Nighthawks back line.
Skelton at 6'4", the tallest timber for the Bearcats back there. And these two teams, as you look at them on the field, Walker, built very similarly, not only in their style of play, but also just from an optics standpoint, a very similar-looking bunch of young men on the field for both squad.
George Knight will trigger it in for Lander. Bearcats working it across Michael Akin, trying to step in and start a counter. Tyler Bolton will draw a foul from North Georgia.
Head coach Lee Squires for Lander, trying to shout out the instructions. Squires in his third year with the Bearcats. Back-to-back Peach Belt Conference Coach of the Year. First time that's happened in over 20 years in the league. And he has guided Lander to a 40-10-4 record here in his third season. 3 appearances in the conference championship, but they have yet to win one.
Bennett tries to play it up top for Akin. Akin will let Folger chase after it, save the legs. It's a long match, especially with North Georgia giving up the extra 3 hours of rest or so that Lander got after their match 2 nights ago.
I do wonder, Walker, about the fatigue between both these teams. As you mentioned, North Georgia's match came later in the evening on Friday, but you talked about a pair of critical Nighthawks who did not play in the second half. I do wonder how those matches, the way they played out, if that will affect the fatigue any. As you see, Lofts miss-hit high and wide there on a great long ball from Skelton, because North Georgia had the advantage of taking that 3-0 lead, and then the second half, don't want to say they were lax, but it's a less intense matchup at that point because you know you've built such a lead. Meanwhile, Lander was having to battle back from behind early in that game. They pull away late, but you wonder how the intensity of those two matches will affect the fatigue factor from both teams, because Lander had their starters in and playing very hard in the second half, while North Georgia had the luxury of taking some guys out and trying to get them rested up in case they did advance against Young Harris, which they eventually did.
North Georgia had to battle defensively as Young Harris was trying to find that first goal. Of course, the first goal always the hardest to find here in a soccer match, and Young Harris had trouble finding that first one. North Georgia found it in the 11th minute, or in the 12th minute rather. And Young Harris had multiple opportunities. Matt Sharman playing excellently between the posts for the Nighthawks on Friday night. As Akin will try and settle it for North Georgia. A little heavy on the touch, gives the ball up to Oliver Brock, and the Bearcats trying to work through the midfield. Nighthawks love to play defensively in the midfield as well and look to counter.
We've seen in the last few minutes this match has been taking place more on the North Georgia half of the pitch, but not towards the box. Lander's been kind of bogged down here between the box and the midfield stripe, as now Chrétien's going to try to change that.
Chrétien weaves through two Nighthawks, can't get past a third. And Evan Davis will send it out of play for a Lander throw. Richard Bryan to trigger it back into play. 28-15 and counting left in the opening period. Akin unable to settle it for North Georgia. Sam Lofts tries to chip it over to Cox Ashwood. North Georgia comes away with it, trying to start a counter. Here's Alex Grant out wide to Gabe Garcia. Grant making a run. Garcia will go wide side of the field to Ivan Achimovic. Now making a run here, Luda. Carl Ludwig Eriksson had an opportunity to cross one in. It was deflected out by, that looked like Jordan Skelton, and North Georgia will set up a quote-unquote set piece off the deep throw.
Yeah, Folger in the vicinity as well on that deflection, and the cross from the near side to the far side of the field. I think if they lead that pass a little bit further, you saw the Nighthawk attacker have to kind of stop and head it. And this counterattack from North Georgia might have gotten a better opportunity at a look at a shot on goal. Instead, they kind of had to slow down for a beat and let everyone catch up, and that allowed the Bearcats to flood some white jerseys deep on that side of the pitch.
North Georgia trying to flick it forward with Ludwig Eriksson. Went out of play. Lander will throw it in on the far side. Right in front of the fans that have made their way down to Evans, a little bit of a closer drive from Greenwood than North Georgia in Dahlonega, but plenty of people coming down from the University of North Georgia to this one.
Good representation from all four of our championship teams in terms of the fan attendance, and it was fun on Saturday. As you mentioned, the Breakfast of Champions, where all the teams that have made their way to the title matches, they put on a clinic for the youth soccer players in the area. It was really fun, I thought, to see the Flagler St. women's team never had made it to Evans, Georgia. They were eliminated in the semifinals, and they stuck around to be a part of that Saturday, something they had never gotten to do before. And this was a really great event, and it has led us into what's been a great day of championship soccer here as we get a whistle on the far side.
Achimovic going to get a stern warning from Casey Black. A lot of shoving and hand fighting between both sides.
It's Achimovic and Knight that got tangled up there. Knight is let's say, the most demonstrative member of that back line for the Bearcats. As oftentimes, if there's an incident down on that area of the pitch, number 2 is involved in it more often than not.
Caldroy waiting on Knight to finish retying the boot. Clock stopped at 26:01. Look at some of the stats right now. 3 shots for the Bearcats, 2 for the Nighthawks. Caldroy with 2 saves, Sharman with 1, North Georgia with the only 2 corner kicks of the first 19 minutes.
Not sure if Knight was tying his cleats or having new ones delivered to him there. It took him quite a while to get everything laced up, but it looks like we're ready to go.
Cowdroy will boot it away. Down the far sideline, Achimovic gets the first touch with the header. Now sent down in the corner in the direction of Cox Ashwood. Jordan Day will get there first, though, for North Georgia and force Knight to throw it in.
7 fouls thus far in this one, 5 against the Nighthawks and 2 against the Bearcats. North Georgia with the advantage in corners, 2-0. Neither team flagged for offside yet. That was a problem that plagued the Bearcat attack against Clayton State, and they were trying to erase an early deficit. Chrétien, I know, individually was whistled 4 different times for offsides, and they're a little more patient today.
Chrétien crosses it in. It's deflected out by Bennett and cleared away by Ludwig Eriksson.
That's Lander's bread and butter right there. Chrétien out on the near wing and allowing him to drive towards the near post and make the decision from there. That was where they started almost all of their attacks against the Lakers on Friday.
Michael Akin in the near corner. A good ball sent down there by Evan Davis. Akin trying to cross it in toward Achimovic on the far side. Achimovic back across goal. It hit the post and will roll out of play. A corner kick earned as it hit right, or it skimmed across the front side of the post.
Oh, a fantastic cross there for North Georgia and a great opportunity. That ball not necessarily struck that hard, but Cowdroy didn't really have a great angle on it, and it just barely missed giving North Georgia an early lead here.
Garcia with the corner toward the spot. Header goes just over the crossbar from that looks like Alex Grant.
Solid cross there, and Grant had a good look at it, and that's one of the few areas, Walker, where the Bearcats might have a deficiency at keeper. Nothing Dean Cowdroy can't control his height, but at only 5'8", when you get those big, tall backline players and attackers that can elevate up in the air and angle that ball up towards the post, Cowdroy, that's a spot where Lander is vulnerable at times in goal, and Bearcats, they catch a break there as that one sailed high.
Grant with 10 goals on the year. He thought for a second there that he had goal number 11. Now Lander with Kaveseth in the corner trying to get it to George Knight, and a corner kick conceded, the first of the afternoon for the Bearcats.
Lander netted 2 goals off of corners against Clayton State on Friday, and they've got Oliver Brock taking it. He's got 10 assists on the year, leads the Bearcats in that department. And keep your eye on number 5, Ian Folger, at the top of the box. He had 2 goals off 2 corners in the semifinal matchup.
Folger marked by Dan Bennett, very comparable in terms of height. Chrétien making a run toward the near post. He'll slow down as Brock sends it in, low line drive, and Alex Grant, a jump kick straight out of play.
Some youngster on a BMX bike is going to come up with that one, as that one's way down into the sand pits.
Now George Knight will walk over to the far side, take the long throw in. Both of these teams already with almost 110, or over 110 minutes, rather, on their legs this weekend. So probably going to be a little slow going out to corner kicks and throw-ins and such throughout the match.
Well, especially when you play the second the championship of the day. These two teams, they were here yesterday morning for the Breakfast of Champions, and then you kind of are just sitting around waiting for 3:30 on Sunday to roll around. No, Bearcats actually went home to Greenwood and watched film, and they practiced at Lander and just decided we'll just ride back up in the morning. But you got a lot of time in between advancing on Friday, getting your stuff out of the way Saturday morning, and then it's just a waiting game as you anticipate that championship. And I mean, difficult on teams when all the adrenaline from Friday wears off, and then it's just watching the clock for the next 36 hours.
Sharman rolls it out. It's sent down the far sideline. It'll roll out of play for a Bearcat throw. I know North Georgia, after the Breakfast of Champions, went to eat lunch and had treatment at nearby Augusta University and then got off their feet and rested. They were in a battle, not to have a play on words with the Battle of Blood Mountain, but they were truly in a battle against Young Harris, one that was extremely physical, had 4 yellow cards in the match, 3 on the Nighthawks, as those two bitter rivals went at it hard in the semifinals. Chrétien turns it over in the midfield. Joyce finds Farrell. He has space as Chrétien chases him down, but a heavy touch by Farrell gives the Bearcats the ball back, and now Chrétien slides to try and send it behind the line of North Georgia. Evan Davis chases it down and sends it toward Alex Grant. Junior from Wolverhampton, England, tries to give it back to Carl Ludwig Eriksson, comes out to Chrétien inside the 18. Left-footed cross is deflected out of play by Dan Bennett. Another corner kick for the Bearcats.
You see Chrétien again trying to find Kveseth, a freshman out of Norway, and Chrétien's tried to go to him early and often here in this matchup. And Kveseth, who has seen plenty of action this year, hasn't necessarily been a starter for the majority of the season, but he's been very heavily involved here early on in this matchup. Now Brock's going to get another opportunity after his first corner kick, handled fairly easily by the Nighthawks.
Looking right into the sun, we are up top as it's headed back in front of goal. It was Fulger who got the last header as it came back out to Chrétien. Akin well out of his position as one of the right forwards for Pat Paris, running all the way to the left side. And looks like Akin and Achimovic will just switch sides of the pitch for the next few moments until they get an opportunity to switch back. A foul called on North Georgia. Not a whole lot of contact there.
Didn't really see what the whistle was for there, Walker, as George Knight was trying to free himself up, and nothing egregious, but whistle blown nonetheless.
Oliver Brock sends it back to Caldroy, who will direct traffic. 18:35 to play in the opening period. And a very crisp, clean, well-fought match here early on. Teams have missed a couple opportunities, but the play hadn't been sloppy. It's just been two teams that very eager to go out and strike first here in this championship. And we've seen solid play from both sides, both offensively and defensively. And both teams playing for the first automatic qualifying spot that the Peach Belt has gotten to offer in men's soccer. As the ball bounces off of Gabe Garcia last, North Georgia will get into the NCAA tournament with a win, but are out without one as they are unranked in the region rankings, as Jamie Lund checks on for Coach Lee Squires. Lund, a senior from Larborth, Scotland. He's a capable goal scorer for Lander, 2 goals on the year, 1 assist. He had the big goal in the 87th minute on the road at Young Harris, which brought the Bearcats back from a 1-goal deficit in a match they eventually drew with the Mountain Lions. Broke Young Harris's 24-match winning streak at home and eventually allowed Lander to pull away from Young Harris and take the conference title in the regular season after Clayton State Lakers upset Young Harris the week later. Dan Bennett will take the free kick for North Georgia. Just under 17 minutes left in this one, in the first period rather, and you'll see another corner kick coming up for North Georgia as the Nighthawks continue to try to chip away at this Lander back line, and they've had some successes. Nothing in the net thus far, but they've come awfully close a couple of times. Low corner taken. It was kicked out immediately. North Georgia will come away with it, though, and have an opportunity to keep it in. Farrell's to the end line. It comes across the frame, And headed away by Lander, and they'll start a counter on the near side. Richard Bryan trying to send it up top. Chrétien with a great touch. Dan Joyce and Matt Sharman not on the same page there. Joyce sends it out of play. Sharman was well off his line. I think he wanted to pick it up.
I mean, credit Chrétien there because Lund and Chrétien were in the forward spot there for the Bearcats. Lund kind of pulled up as that one was heading towards the box, and Chrétien continued to attack, and you wonder if some footsteps were heard there, as you mentioned. Nighthawks had some miscommunication in the back line. Fortunate that all it's going to result in is a throw-in for Lander.
Richard Bryan steps almost back to the fence, and the clock will stop as Casey Black will talk to Bennett and Skelton.
Lander just checked in Robbie Young, sophomore out of Motherwell, Scotland. So we'll check in at forward.
Long throw headed away by Bennett. Achimovic giving chase. He'll get a touch on it. Lund giving pursuit. Now Ludwig Eriksson sends it to the far side, and Evan Davis. Davis over the top. He's onside. Akin trying to work past, and a trip at the top of the box. They do not blow the whistle. Farrell does not agree with it at all.
Ebert is the Nighthawk bench.
It was a bang-bang play. The official has a much better angle on it than any of us do.
That's the second time in the last few minutes, Walker, we've seen Lander think a Nighthawk was offsides, and back line all kind of slowing and raising the hands, trying to get the call, and they haven't gotten it. And for the Bearcats, it's a championship matchup. It's your third opportunity at it. The official will raise the flag if he's going to raise the flag. You're not going to have any impact on it. Just go ahead and play through the back line and get back, and if it's called offsides, it's called offsides. Don't give the Nighthawks an opening here.
Here's Farrell. Gives it in the middle. Achimovic, or rather Garcia, can't keep possession. Lander working up the middle, lofts out wide to Chrétien. Chrétien makes a move toward the end line, tries to cross it in, and Dan Bennett again there to deflect it right out of play across the end line. Another corner kick for Lander. This will be their third of the evening.
And that's 3 times now Chrétien's made the exact same run and the exact same move. Feints right, cuts left, and tries to cross. All 3 have been deflected. And he's continuing to try to create something here and see if Sharman and the Nighthawks can hold.
Out near the penalty spot came the corner. It's headed away by the Nighthawks. Alex Grant trying to get it back for North Georgia. It's sent it again for Lander, headed toward goal by Lund. Sharman able to just slide over and scoop it up.
Lander preparing to send in Sia Jamadar, junior out of Sweden. He'll check in, experienced player for Coach Squires. Bearcats have gone to the bench a little more often here in the first period than Pete Paris has for the Nighthawks.
North Georgia having yet to go out of their starting 11. Davis trying to get away from Chrétien. Chrétien comes up with it. Here's Lund looking to send it into the center of the field. Robbie Young is dispossessed by Carl Ludwig Eriksson. The junior from Sweden preparing to graduate. He turned it over. Lander trying to work past that midfield line. North Georgia steps in. Alex Grant will send it straight across the field. Akin chased down by Chrétien. The freshman from France, Rickson, very fast.
He's a speedster. What a great find for Lee Squires. Young man that very difficult upbringing and found this sport, and he has excelled in it and became Lander's 3rd consecutive player to nab a share of Freshman of the Year. Never been done before in league history. Hugo Del Hamel, Dean Cowdroy, and then Thibaut Chrétien, as Lee Squires has shown he can certainly bring the talent to Greenwood. Looking for the postseason success. No conference tournament titles, and they've gone one and done in the Southeast Regional in each of his first 2 seasons, and that's been a big sticking point with this team coming into this season. As Walker, we're going to see North Georgia go to the bench for the first time.
That'll be Jared Smalley checking in for the Nighthawks, the junior midfielder from England. He'll replace Carl Ludwig Eriksson, mentioned the junior from Uppsala, Sweden, getting ready to graduate just 3 years. He's been a staple for Coach Pat Paris in those 3 years.
12th appearance of the year for Smalley, 1 shot on the year. He checks in along with Jamadar, who's playing in his 16th match of the season for the Bearcats. He's got 3 goals to his credit.
North Georgia earning a throw as we approach the 36th minute of play.
And the Nighthawks, so they'll set to bring in another substitution here at the next opportunity.
Davis heads it down, trying to get it past Chrétien. Akin earning a throw for North Georgia. The sub will be Aaron Ozer at the next available opportunity. Sophomore from Berlin. A tall striker for Pat Paris. Try and get some height up top. Akin earning possession for North Georgia, looking for Garcia. Not going to be able to get it there as Lander will start to bring it up the near side. Richard Bryan speeding past as many Nighthawks as he can. And a little bit behind Sam Lofts. North Georgia able to start a counterattack of their own.
Well, that's the guy the Bearcats wanted to get it to. Lofts is their leading goal scorer. He's got 8 on the year. And talked earlier in the match about Bryan's ability to get down the pitch. You saw it there. The pass just a little off target.
Aaron Ozer checks on, as does Mateus Abreu, the 5'7" freshman from Sao Paulo, transfer from Northeastern Oklahoma A&M.
Ozer 3 goals on the year along with an assist. Abreu 2 goals and 2 assists to his credit, both experienced players, 16th and 18th appearances of the year respectively.
Abreu crosses it in to Farrell. He couldn't get a shot off, as now Lander will try and settle it on the back line with Robbie Young. Up top, Oliver Brock doing a great job to earn position to keep that ball in the Bearcats' possession. Now trying a long ball. Richard Bryan, he's not going to be able to find Jamie Lund. It'll roll out for a North Georgia throw. 8 minutes to play here in the first half. Lander awaiting to make another change on the field. Joshua Birdie will check on for the Bearcats. He'll replace Chrétien. Chrétien will get a nice close to 23-minute break in between first and second half action.
Yeah, Bertie, a junior out of London. He's got 1 goal and 1 assist this year. I think you're right. Lee Squires, maybe going with the equivalent of in basketball, where you see a guy pulled just seconds before the media timeout at a 4-minute or an 8-minute mark. I think Lee Squires is hoping that he can keep Chrétien off the pitch for a little while, take it into half, and be able to have his co-freshman of the year rested up for the second 45.
These two teams were scoreless through regulation back on October 4th in Dahlonega. A free kick opportunity. Brock will send it in. Flicked toward the back post by Jordan Skelton. A goal kick earned. Had Joshua Birdie sitting on that back post, it was just a little high for him.
Final 6.5 minutes here, and going to be crucial for both of these sides. try to work some momentum going into the intermission. And obviously a goal here for either team. You love what that does for the confidence moving forward. Is it's going to change the entire tenor of this match if one of these squads can take a one-goal advantage into intermission.
On the near side, Birdie trying to work down into the corner. He's marked by Evan Davis. Davis will get there first and send it out for a throw right near the corner flag. Lee Squires telling Jordan Skelton to go on up into the box. This is right near the spot where you'd have a corner kick. And Richard Bryan will trigger it in. Look at him all the way back against the fence.
Yeah, pardon me, Walker, but Skelton's got 7 goals this year. He's very familiar with what to do when that ball's near the box.
Trying to head it to the back post there with Skelton. It's inside the 18 still with Robbie Young. Young dispossessed. North Georgia trying to get it out, and they're able to. Now Aaron Ozer with a good touch, and Daniel Joyce will clear the line. Looking to throw it in, and doing so is Lander. North Georgia earns possession with Ozer, but can't do anything with it as the Bearcats take over again. After the first 5 minutes, Rickson, this game has been played for the most part inside the final third for Lander, as they've really controlled the possession as North Georgia has just been trying to weather the storm. Inside the 18, crossing it over, and a lot of adrenaline there for Joshua Birdie as he sends it flying over everyone.
And it's a different, almost a complete inverse of what Lander did against Clayton State in the semifinal. They started that match as the aggressors and were peppering the Lakers with shots. And in the final 35 minutes, Clayton State really owned where the match was being played, and the Bearcats got back into it off a set piece. But you're right, after North Georgia dominated the area of the pitch in the early going, now Lander has really taken command of it, but just like the Nighthawks, has not been able to convert anything. So here's an opportunity for North Georgia.
Flicked on by Garcia. Abreu gets inside the 18. He'll try and cross it in toward Ozer. Ozer will get a touch. Now Abreu will have a go, and it goes wide left.
He went right through the wickets of Skelton there, and that's going to allow Lander to get a goal kick out of it. He put a missile just hooked left wide. A lot of traffic there. The last time North Georgia was held scoreless in the first half, Walker, was that contest with the Bearcats back on October 4th. Since then, Nighthawks are outscoring their opponents 13-3 in the first period. Their last 2 contests, they put up 3 goals in the first half. In the quarterfinals against USC-Aiken and the semifinals against Young Harris. Lander trying to prevent that number from growing here in the final 3 minutes and change.
The final 3 minutes is when North Georgia scored 2 of their goals in the semifinal against Young Harris. Ozer going to give chase to Skelton. Skelton will just work it across that back line. A missed touch there by Folger, and he'll send it all the way back to Caldroy.
Meanwhile, the Bearcats have not gone to break in a scoreless match since October 14th. 5 matches ago on the road at Young Harris. That was a match where, as we mentioned, they fell behind in around the 70th minute. Here's an opportunity.
Lund sent a great ball in, and a little bit of a heavy touch by the Bearcat attacker. It goes out across the end line for a goal kick. But that was a great ball sent in by the senior from Scotland, Jamie Lund.
That's been the story of the match for both these offenses. A ball maybe 6 inches one way, 6 inches another way, and we got a different feel to this match as both teams have certainly had their opportunities, but they just have not been able to pull off the perfect combination to break through these 2 very tough defenses.
Mentioned the first goal is always the hardest to find. Achimovic works the ball up. Here's Abreu. 1-on-1 with Richard Bryan. Abreu's shot is scooped up by Caldroy. He'll fall on top of it as the ball rolled right up his chest.
Nice job by Abreu to get down deep on the Bearcat half of the pitch, but another solid defensive stop there as Bryan kept him from cutting that one back in, and Cowdroy was there to smother up the near post.
Farrell with a good slide tackle, trying to get it to a Brew. Richard Bryan sends it into the middle. Smalley heads it along to Achimovic. We're close to the final minute of this first half. Achimovic elbowed in the head, rather, as we are now officially in the final 60 seconds of the first half. Jordan Day will allow for the set piece to form, try and wind a little bit of clock off against this Lander team that has controlled possession for the majority of this first half. North Georgia sending a lot of numbers forward. Evan Davis, Aaron Ozer, Mateus Abreu, Ivan Achimovic at the top of the 18. He's got Garcia and Smalley about 10 yards away from the top of the box. Day sends it in, trying to find Ozer. Ozer tried to flick it on. It's headed away by Fulger. Comes all the way back out to Joyce. 20 seconds to play now. Day will send it in one more time. Ozer flicked it on, and Abreu was just a yard off.
Yeah, Bryan and Fulger are able to hold their line there, and Abreu just snuck behind them. And for the second consecutive season, we're going to be scoreless at halftime of the men's championship.
And these two teams very familiar with being scoreless at halftime against each other. Were scoreless in the regular season at the break. They're scoreless in the championship game at the break. We've seen Lander control most of the possession, but North Georgia actually leads the Bearcats in shots in the first half, 7-5, Rickson.
Yeah, those two offenses that really found their groove, I feel like, at different parts of the match. It was North Georgia opening. They set the tempo. They set the pace, had a couple of corner kick opportunities that just didn't go their way. The Bearcats withstood that pressure, and in the final 20 minutes, it was Lander that all of a sudden offensively, they were the ones who were getting things done on the North Georgia end of the pitch and getting some shot opportunities. 3 corner kicks for Lander in the first period, but neither team able to break through. These are the two best scoring offenses in the league. They're also 2 of the top 3 defenses in the league. You kind of had a feeling this one was going to be nip and tuck through the first half, and that's exactly what it was, scoreless after 45 minutes.
Again, after the first half, UNG and Lander scoreless in the Peach Belt Conference Men's Soccer Championship match. We'll take a break. When we return, second half action right here on the Peach Belt Conference Network.
Blanchard Woods
field playing very cleanly in terms of just going up and down, not trying. We had a few instances.
Second period, first conference tournament in the Peach Belt. That one cleared away by North Georgia as they try to work it down the pitch to Grant. Skelton is there to get a piece of it.
Two teams trying to just settle in here in the second half after the halftime break, as North Georgia a little bit careless there in the final third, trying to get it to Alex Grant.
Sliding kick there by Folger as North Georgia takes it back. They'll play it in the middle. The ball sent down to the middle of the pitch as that's Achimovic. They thread it through left side. This is Grant, shot on the way, but a slow roller and easy for Cowdroy to cover up. There's another one of those opportunities, Walker, we talked about in the first half. Chances for both sides in North Georgia. You've got Grant and Cowdroy one-on-one, right side, and Cowdroy really had to do
that. Top of the 18 this season, as I mentioned, 10 goals in 2017, and he's had a couple of great opportunities at number 11, one over the crossbar and one right to Cowdroy.
Shea, far side. Ball played back to the middle, Achimovic. Now North Georgia will work it down left wing. This is Daniel Joyce. Kaveseth giving chase. Joyce, lob it into the box. Headed momentarily. Bearcats trying to get it out of danger, and they do, as Brock will corral it. And he'll send one screaming back towards the center of the pitch, and Cox Ashwood fighting for possession.
Joyce's cross beautifully sent into Akin, who I don't think he thought it was going to come down to him. He thought that Grant or Achimovic was going to get a header on it before it came down, and Akin looked a bit surprised that it fell to his feet.
Throw in far side for Lander. Chrétien, who sat the final 7.5 minutes of the first period. The speedy co-freshman of the year in the league now back on the pitch and operating with the ball. Double team near the far flag. Ball poked away over the end line. Corner kick coming up for Lander. 41:50 to go in regulation.
Fourth of the contest for Lander. Oliver Brock has taken all four of them, and they've had a couple of good opportunities. Great services in from Brock, just have not been able to find that net. First opportunity they've had here in the second half.
Brock connected with Ian Folger for a pair of goals off corner kicks in the semifinal on Friday night. Now he'll send this one in. That's a good ball. Skelton rises up for it and heads it wide. Goal kick for North Georgia. Skelton put his head in his hands as he makes his way back down the pitch. Another chance for another score. And this time it's the Nighthawks who benefit from a ball that just missed wide of the near post.
Dan Joyce was standing inside that right post, and it came about knee-high for Joyce. Sharman was also coming in to try and keep it away. Don't know if it would have gotten in, but it would have at least made the Nighthawks sweat a little bit more.
Sharman in the first half making 2 saves to Cowdroy's 4 for Lander as North Georgia was able to outshoot the Bearcats. Sharman as Cox Ashwood shielded away nicely as the Nighthawks clear it back to the other end of the pitch. Folger heading it. Brock for the end line. Goal kick for North Georgia. Another chance for the Nighthawks, and that one sailed wide as the ball just sent to the left of the post. The Bearcats breathe a sigh of relief.
Saw great ball movement there. Achimovic chased it down, found a streaking Garcia near the end line, and thrown right across frame. Alex Grant just not the correct angle to get it to the near post. That's how the Nighthawks have scored a lot of their goals. Their third goal of the match.
The pitch, sliding tackle by Folger, unsuccessful. Akin in trap, poked away from him momentarily, and Lander gets it away from the dangerous Nighthawk attack.
Michael throw it in.
Lofts left side, a hurried shot there and didn't really get a good look at it at all. And easy for the Nighthawks to clear it away. Now Tyler Bolton, we called for a foul as he rambles over Gabriel Garcia. Nighthawks will quickly send it away. Tale of two programs. in terms of this matchup. Lander playing in the title match for the 15th time in program history. It's more than any other team in the history of the league. Meanwhile, North Georgia has never been in the conference championship match. This afternoon, as it's turned to evening here, some connectivity problems that we've been having. Don't want you to miss any action between Lander.
See Richard Bryant.
On a foul. Down in front of the tournament champion 9. There are 4 tournament titles, the most of any team currently in the league. The North Georgia Nighthawks, who he was the only one sent one high and wide on an empty net opportunity, and we remain scoreless.
The first Hawks in the championship play, I think a lot of nerves got there. You see a wide open net, you have a chance to score the first goal in PBC championship history for North Georgia, and you just send it high and wide. Michael Akin, I'm sure, going to lose some sleep over that one.
Or the senior midfielder, the benefactor of a rare miscommunication along the Lander back line. This Bearcat defense that shut out 6 opponents on the year, tops in the league. That was a dangerous ball that was bouncing beyond the 18 box, and Folger tried to head it forward to Cowdroy as he came racing up, and his header wasn't strong enough. Akin got a piece of it, and Folger, to his credit, raced back in front of the net to try to create some defense, but there wasn't going to be much he could do if Akin got an accurate shot off. And the senior just airmailed it. But now North Georgia trying to work off that momentum as Bolton tackled, and we're going to have a stoppage of play at the 34:53 mark, and we've got our first card of the match as this one will go against Ivan Achimovic.
Yeah, just a slide tackle from behind. It's not a position you want to be in. It slows down Lander, but you get the penalty of the yellow. Achimovic has already been warned multiple times today, so expected the yellow to come out there. Both teams already having gone to the bench here in the second half. Jamadar checks back on, and for North Georgia, Adam Dowdy for the first time today, the sophomore from Habersham.
Ball headed left side. Chrétien lost his footing, and Akin comes away with it. Missed opportunity there for Lander. Then Bryan took it away, and a whistle against Chrétien will give possession back to North Georgia.
Casey Black was trying to play advantage as Akin got away from the slide tackle from Chrétien, but as soon as he turned the ball over, the foul was called.
Lander about to try to send Robbie Young back on the match. We got an official looking at Young's wrist as the Nighthawks send the ball deep far side. Young had to hesitate before entering the match on Friday, had to remove the earrings, and now I believe there may be something, I don't know if it's a band or if it's a cut on his right wrist that's being examined by assistant coach Rob Seaton. As North Georgia tries to create another opportunity after Atkins misfire. 33:45 remaining in regulation. No score between the Nighthawks and the Bearcats. Ball played in the middle of the box. A lot of white jerseys around. Atkins skies up for the header. Jamadar got it away momentarily, and then Bolton clears it deep. They tracked down by North Georgia's Dowdy. An offsides flag goes up against North Georgia on the counter.
Coach Paris barking instructions to Jordan Day. Jordan's moved up into more of a defensive midfielder area as Dowdy has come on for the Nighthawks. Position that Jordan Day hasn't played much this year. He normally plays that center back position alongside of either Dowdy or Bennett, but Coach Paris knows that Jordan Day is lethal inside the 18, so trying to get something going for North Georgia to get the first goal of the match.
Nighthawks trying to break through in their first appearance in program history at the tournament championship. They were in the semifinals last year against Young Harris, fell by a score of 4-3. Exacted a heavy measure of revenge Friday night with a 3-0 thumping of the Mountain Lions. And that means that for the first time since 2013, we will have a new champion on the men's side in the Peach Belt Conference Tournament. The Mountain Lions were going for 4 in a row this year. They had won 2 consecutive titles against the Lander Bearcats, 2015 and 2016. But taken down by this Nighthawk club on Friday night. And we'll crown a new champion here in Evans, Georgia this evening. Sharman sends that one out of play, throw in to Lander.
If I recall last year, that Young Harris-Lander matchup, dramatic fashion, penalty kicks played here. It's the first time in a number of years that penalty kicks decided the Peach Belt Conference Tournament champion. And wouldn't it be interesting if penalty kicks decided an automatic qualifier for the first time?
Tensions are already high here. That would ratchet them up to an almost unfathomable level here at Blanchard Woods Park. It was scoreless at halftime of last year's championship match, and then the offenses woke up in the second period as the Bearcats and Mountain Lions put a combined 4 goals on the board in the second period. But nobody was able to find the net in the overtime session. So we have a foul against the Bearcats as Farrell went down. I don't know if that was on Brock or Cavessa. I think Brock may have been the guilty party. Free kick coming up for Daniel Bennett. Ball sent to the top of the box, and Lander heads it away. 7 of the Bearcats who've been on the pitch today played in that tournament championship a year ago. Lander also has Sinclair Sandy on the bench. He's been a part of a pair of championship matches as well. So it's the battle of experience for a program that's been here before but hasn't won against a club in North Georgia that's never been here before and maybe doesn't know how pressure-packed this game is supposed to feel, as there's a one-hopper controlled by Caldroy.
Gabe Garcia saw himself an opening and went ahead and took the shot. You never know what will happen if a deflection and a rebound is up there or Caldroy just misplays it. I mean, it happens to the best of them. When you think back to a couple of World Cups ago, England, their goalkeeper was unable to stop a U.S. goal in about the 44th minute right before half, and that really changed the tide of a game. Might as well try one here.
Kveseth battling there against Achimovic. The ball threaded into the center, offsides infraction against Grant. North Georgia doubling up the Bearcats in shots thus far, 10-5 in favor of the Nighthawks. There have been 5 saves made by Caldroy, 2 against Sharman. He's not had to make one here in the second period. 28-24 to go on the clock. Long ball near sideline. Chrétien and Davis battling for it, and Davis clears it out of bounds. The first ever meeting in the Peach Belt Conference Tournament between Lander and North Georgia. Interesting to look back at the record books and see all the repeat matchups that these two programs have had. North Georgia's battled the Mountain Lions plenty of times as Brock's shot rolls harmlessly wide of the left post. Bearcats have had a lot of matchups with Clayton States and Flaglers of the league, but these two teams have never faced one another with so much on the line. Sharman will boot the goal kick away. There's a good one beyond the stripe. And I think Knight going to be called for a foul as the Nighthawks went up to control the header.
Yeah, Knight wasn't happy with Casey Black for the whistle. You could hear him exclaim and throw his arms out from all the way up here. An opportunity for the Nighthawks. They love to play these long balls in and try and just get some deflections and make something happen. Francisco Aliciardi going to make a move for the Nighthawks.
It's a good one deep in the box, and Knight heads it away over the end line on a corner kick coming up for North Georgia. Boy, that ball got way back in the box. I think Knight, had he let it go, I don't think there was a Nighthawk that was going to be able to get to it, but of course, better safe than sorry. But it does result in a corner kick near side for North Georgia, 26:33 remaining in regulation.
Aliciardi.
And Caldroy goes up to grab that one.
I mean, that was a great ball sent in by Francisco Aliciardi, his first touch of the match. Caldroy having to react quickly. There were a lot of blue-topped jerseys ready to make a play.
Lander lost it for a moment before the captain, Skelton, went skidding in and booted that one away. Now we got a late whistle against the Bearcats as Aliciardi went to the turf.
There's a card out.
And it goes against Jordan Skelton. Skelton went flying in to try to clear that ball away from Aliciardi and booted it towards the stands. Aliciardi went to the ground, and then the card and the whistle did not come until about 3 seconds after the play had been made. Bearcats unhappy. It's the second carding of the match, now one for each team, as Achimovic picked up one earlier in the period. Both teams preparing to go to the bench. Lander going to send Lund in. Gustavo Alinsar, the freshman from Brazil, preparing to check in for North Georgia. And now Lee Squires, I believe, has drawn a card. The Bearcat head coach earns his second yellow of the season.
I heard that Casey Black explaining to the assistant coaches out on the field while he was writing down that first card that the slide tackle came well off the ground, hence the pulling of the yellow.
Ball in the box, deflected around, still free for the moment. Nighthawks try to regroup, and a shot wide left as Aliciardi fired once more and misses wide. And the Bearcats hold firm as we'll have a pair of substitutions in. Lander dodging a bullet there. A yellow card against their captain and one against their head coach, and a dangerous free kick opportunity. But we remain scoreless with 25-32 remaining in regulation. Lander and North Georgia, winner takes home the Peach Bowl Conference Tournament title. Cox Ashwood far side, being shadowed by a Kent. Bearcats will get the throw in. North Georgia thought that they'd have possession. Ball slammed down in frustration by a Nighthawk as Bryan goes to retrieve it.
There's been a couple of stern warnings for some temper tantrums for the Nighthawks early on. Gabe Garcia, the most demonstrative of those.
Brock having trouble finding someone to get it into. Finally sends it out to Knight. Now Bolton going to send one in. Young is there. Bounces over the end line, and goal kick for Sharman as Robbie Young was battling for positioning down near the right post, but well defended by North Georgia. He never even got a piece of that one.
And Robbie Young signaling back toward midfield, thumbs up, loved the idea. Just a little bit strong for Robbie to be able to get to.
He was battling with Daniel Joyce, senior from Essex, England. And Joyce got the better of the exchange as Skelton boots that one high. Lund trying to get to it, but it's won by Bennett. This is Bryan left side. Bryan slowed momentarily, got it off a ricochet. Lander's got some opportunities here. Bryan to the top of the box. Looking, he's got Brock. Brock was calling for it, now gets it. Chips one in, and Sharman a leaping catch.
Ball deflected there by Daniel Joyce. Made it a little bit more difficult for Sharman to read it off the foot as it changed directions immediately.
Brock was wanting that ball ever since Bryan had gotten it on the far side, and then Brock's going to draw a foul, as I believe they'll get. Bennett may have been the guilty party there. 23-10 showing on the clock to our right. Shots in favor of the Nighthawks 12-6. Corner kicks even at 5 apiece. 5 saves made by Landers Dean Cowdroy. 3 saves made by Matt Sharman for North Georgia. But the most important digits on the board, a pair of zeros in the scoreboard. Brock looking for a space. Gives it back to Jamadar. North Georgia closing out aggressively. Now Jamadar wanted to weave one in to Robbie Young. Pass was off target, and Sharman smothers it up.
Mateus Abreu for the Nighthawks standing behind the bench, staying loose. He likely will come on the field at some point in the second half. A quick offensive threat for the Nighthawks.
Lisiardi sends that one ahead, and Cowdroy raced out. Bearcats want to prevent another miscommunication as Akin was in hot pursuit of that one. 22 minutes remaining, still scoreless here at Blanchard Woods Park. On the Lander bench, Bearcats have the sophomore from France, Corentin de Mutin, warming up. And a Bearcat goes down. Tyler Bolton hits the dirt. Will play on. Bearcat players and coaches wanted a whistle. They'll get none.
They had an argument as Alan Sarr came in from behind, but I think it was a good enough play on the ball and a little bit of extra motion from the Bearcats and Tyler Bolton allowed for the whistle to stay in the mouth and not blow.
It's been a very evenly officiated contest today. Both teams will have some gripes because teams often do in matches of this importance, but been called very evenly both ways. The officials have not become a storyline, which is what you always want to avoid in any match, but particularly one where a champion is going to be decided.
And what a great tournament we've had all weekend. We've seen a number of very, very good games on both the women's and the men's side. And, I mean, there's no better way to end the tournament than with a game of this caliber.
Chrétien on the run, far side, lofts it in, off the post, and a ricochet from Lund, and it's in. Over the line, and Jamie Lund has put the Bearcats on top 1-0. Chrétien's cross went off the post. Sharman tried to cover up the rebound shot from Lund, had it in his arm, but it's ruled to go over the line, and Lander has a 1-0 lead with 20:27 remaining in regulation. The Bearcats strike first in the conference tournament championship.
Well, and Farrell, Sharman, and Pat Paris going to have a word with the official. That was extremely close, hard to tell from our end, and there's a lot of dirt in front of that goal, so there's not a lot of chalk or paint left in front of either goal. It's tough to tell, especially from a distance, and there's going to be a discussion here. I don't think that anything's going to change. It'll still be a goal, but at least Coach Paris will feel a little bit better getting some frustration out.
There's no benefit of video replay, obviously. There's no equivalent to the pylon cam in football. Have to go off the word of the official along that back line, and he says that Lund snuck it over the line. It's a difficult call against the Nighthawks because, as we mentioned, it's not like the ball got away from Sharman. He had it in his arms, but they will say that it crossed the line first, and now we've got an official coming up this way, and I think they may take a look at this. An official comes racing up the stairs here. And they will ask for a replay as we take a look at it here. We'll try to take a look back here as we pull it up and see just exactly what they saw. And now the second official is going to make his way up to the press box.
This will be Casey Black, the center official, and he'll come with the alternate. And Tariq Veladar into the press box as they just implemented instant replay in the Major League Soccer, and now we get our first opportunity in Peach Belt Conference action. You said a goal of this magnitude as we watch it right here at our little table.
You've got to get this one right. I don't blame them one bit. This is a huge goal. So we'll try to slow it down here and take a look at it. As it stands at the moment, Lander's got a 1-0 advantage over the North Georgia Nighthawks. It was Chrétien who started the run down on the left side. He crossed it. I think he wanted to get it. To Lund. And his cross almost went in the net.
So we try and find it.
And we're trying to find the play here as it was headed along. And then Chrétien played it and brought it in from beyond the box on the left side.
It's a beautiful cross by Chrétien.
It's a little strong if he's trying to get it to Lund, but it went off the crossbar as Sharman had his back turned. Lund ricocheted and fired it in.
It's tough to tell from that angle. It's going to be, I don't know if this is one of those college football replays where you have to have inconclusive video evidence.
Well, the shot from Lund was deflected by Sharman off of his left arm. I think, and we don't know what the officials are looking at, but I think that one got in the green.
We tried to get one of the officials to give us a signal. They go down onto the field right now. And it'll be a goal.
It's a goal for the Bearcats, and Walkers, we look back at it. Off the deflection from Sharman, you mentioned the brown that's in front of the goal. The area directly behind the line, the grass is in fine shape there, and as you look, you can see, I think there's a sliver of green in front of that ball. I think they got that one right. It's a very, very close call. And they're looking at the same stuff the same footage that we're looking at.
As they would say in the college football realm of things, the call stands, not enough inconclusive video evidence to overturn the call. They can't confirm it, they can't deny it, so it'll just stand.
It's not going to make the Nighthawks feel any better. With 20 minutes remaining, Lander has a 1-0 advantage over North Georgia. And a corner kick sent right into the arms of Cowdroy. While we were taking a look at that, Aliciardi had a corner opportunity, and he sent a line drive right into the belly of the sophomore. Lander's up 1-0, 19:35 remaining.
I think that's honestly the first time that I can say that video replay used in a soccer match, and now the clock will be stopped at 19:20 and another card shown as Casey Black is trying to bring this game back into a reasonable tempo and cleanliness of play. North Georgia going to bring back on their two top goal scorers in Gabe Garcia and Alex Grant at the next opportunity. To go back to the video replay, it's extremely close from what we can see. It's the only camera angle we've got, so it's the only thing that the officials can go off of. And like you said, it kind of does look like there's a green sliver. The ball could still be in the air. We can't tell from the center camera, which is the only camera we've got. I think it's time that the Peach Belt invests in some goalpost cams, some GoPros or something.
if this result stands, they'll set up a GoFundMe down in Dahlonega, and they'll pay for it themselves. A tough break there against North Georgia, and to extend the college football metaphor, as we talked about a call that was confirmed or stood, I think that's a situation, Walker, where the call on the field, that it's going to be hard for them no matter what, because we're dealing with very limited replay. Whatever they call on the field, it was going to be very difficult for them to come back down and say that was incorrect.
I think the only thing that they would have been able to try and look at is that if Sharman had touched the ball in that brown area, if they could have shown that Sharman was off the back line, a yard off, and touched it there, you could have overturned it. But from where Sharman was standing, he was heels on that back line. It's extremely hard to be able to tell where he touched the ball from this angle. If he would have been 2 yards, even 1 yard into that dirt area instead of right on the back line, you might have had a little bit more of a try at getting the call to overturn.
18:25 remaining in regulation, and Lander up 1-0 on North Georgia. Chrétien, he's going to fire from deep and send it high over the crossbar.
And interestingly enough, the officials, when they saw that there was such a close goal, they went immediately to the press box and immediately asked, do we have video replay? And, of course, here at the conference tournament, you're going to have some sort of video. Whether you'll be able to tell what's going on the video is another story, but at least they have the ability to do so.
And as you said, Walker, I've never seen that done at a college soccer match at this level. But that's a call, as we mentioned. 71 minutes into a championship match with a berth in the NCAA tournament on the line, you've got to get it right. As Sam Lofts is called for offsides against the Bearcats. Lofts now playing with a yellow. Lofts happy to be on the pitch. He missed last year's conference tournament championship following a red card in the semifinals in a hotly contested match with the Flagler Saints. Lofts certainly enjoying his time out on the pitch, the senior out of Swindon, England. That's a young man that as a freshman did not play in a single match, and Lee Squires got here. And Lofts was kind of an afterthought on the roster, and all he's done since then is become one of the top goal scorers in recent Bearcat history. He owns the Van Taylor Stadium record for career points in that facility with 41. And he got a little too aggressive on that last possession for Lander, and now North Georgia's got Garcia with the ball teed up for him. And a free kick opportunity for the Nighthawks as they send it into the box. A lot of traffic headed on, off the crossbar, still free, and Lander clears it away. And here comes Lund and Chrétien. Oh, my goodness, what an opportunity. Now Chrétien in a foot race. Nighthawks trying to run him down. Akin behind him. Chrétien on the run, brought down from behind. Will play on as Akin saves what could have been a big shot opportunity for the freshman out of Laval, France.
And that would have been a huge momentum shift. North Georgia had a great opportunity to hit off the crossbar, and then Chrétien, a wide-open attempt to bring it down the field. If he would have been able to get a shot and put it in the back of the net, momentum completely in Lander's side.
I tell you what, Walker, what an effort from Michael Akin. Chrétien had a jump on him, had the momentum going down the field, and you talked about the speed from the senior out of England, and we saw it right there as Akin runs down one of the Bearcats' fastest players. A little contact, not enough to draw a foul, and North Georgia goes from nearly knotting the match up to nearly seeing the deficit grow to 2 goals to remaining within striking distance here with 15.5 minutes to go. Here come the Bearcats again. Young, tangled up near side, still fighting for it, and he's brought down. Whistle will go against Daniel Joyce.
Robbie Young, I think, wanted to get a card out of it. He got the foul, and Casey Black not giving him the time of day. As it looks like Oliver Brock will take this free kick in a dangerous area. Nighthawks really got to stand up strong, and you're getting to that point, Rickson, where for Coach Parrish it becomes decision time. When do you put an extra attacker on the pitch?
Brock curls it in. Header on the way. Sharman popped it in the air and came down with it. They'll call the offsides penalty against Lander, so it would not have mattered. Imagine Sharman's heart jumped into his throat as that one popped off of his fist, and then Sharman lost his footing on the goal kick opportunity. He skidded down in front of the net, and then a foul on North Georgia, and the ball will be handled by the Bearcats.
A little gamesmanship. They set it down quickly and now will walk forward to try and take a little extra time off.
Chrétien, left side, looking to make a run. He's into the box. A whistle. With the foul will be called, but it will be called beyond the 18. So another free kick for Brock, this time from the opposite side. Under 14 to play, Lander leading North Georgia 1-0 in the conference tournament title match. Ball sent in. It's free in front of the goal. Sharman couldn't clear it. Lunn couldn't get a shot opportunity. So the Bearcats work it back right side. This is Skelton. And the Nighthawks converge on him, and North Georgia able to take it away and clear it deep. They were trying to work it to Akin. Instead, Bolton will usher it back to the feet of Cowdroy. 13:30 to go. As Cowdroy's boot bounces out of play in front of the Nighthawk bench. Lofts at midfield. Over to Brock. Garcia and Akin converging on him. Now Young wants to send it ahead to Lofts, and Sharman races out and grabs the ball off a bounce. That one misplayed at the feet of Achimovic, and now Young's got it with another run opportunity for Lander as Young trying to weave his way through traffic. Still with the ball at his feet, looking for the pass, sends it ahead. Lunn on the way. Lunn, shot saved by Sharman. Rebound by Young off the crossbar. North Georgia trying to clear it away, and they do.
And how much closer can you get as North Georgia now going with a counter? Can Alex Grant get there?
Grant against three different Bearcats, and Skelton slides and knocks it away. Bryan trying to clear it out of danger. Grant still all on his own, and a whistle and a foul, and the clock will stop with 12:23 to go. I'll tell you what, Walker, the crossbars are taking a beating this evening here in Evans, Georgia. That's by my count 3 different shots that have gone off the post, and now we've got another yellow card. I think they're going to get Grant for that one.
Yeah, Grant pulled down. I believe that was Richard Bryan on the far side trying to keep the ball in. Mateus Abreu getting set to check in for North Georgia, that extra attacker that I mentioned earlier with 12:23 to play. Carl Ludwig Eriksson also getting set to check back in. North Georgia going to have to start throwing some numbers forward.
And that's the second time in the last few minutes that North Georgia has nearly seen the ball go in the net for Lander, and they have immediately turned defense into offense and nearly gotten an opportunity on the offensive end.
And how about the save from Matt Sharman on that first shot from Jamie Lund, and then getting back up to at least give a look to Robbie Young and make him go high. If Sharman's still on the ground, Young's got a wide open net to shoot into and doesn't have to aim high and hit the crossbar.
First team all-conference for a reason, Matt Sharman, the junior from Sandwich, England. As the Nighthawks check in, Eriksson and Abreu. Akin and Farrell will check out for the time being. 11:35 showing on the clock. Lander leading North Georgia by 1. Chrétien hurdling. They cannot keep it in play. Throw in to the Nighthawks. The tackle made by Chrétien and the whistle. And the freshman will be issued a foul, no card. We've had 5 cards in this match thus far, 2 against both teams, and 1 against Lander head coach Lee Squires, and now a dangerous opportunity for North Georgia on a set piece with 10:58 to go in regulation. Nighthawks trying to find the equalizer. Ball sent in deep. Nobody home for North Georgia, and goal kick for Cowdroy.
Dan Bennett fell down inside the box. Don't know if he was pushed in the back. There are a lot of people there. Casey Black just says we're going to play on. Nothing too intentional or anything to issue a penalty kick. I know that North Georgia just trying to get any way to have an opportunity at goal.
Nighthawks didn't really put up much of an argument there, so imagine that it might have slipped on his own accord. Now a fight for the ball around the midfield stripe. Nighthawks come out with it as Joyce has it near side. Bolton giving chase. Joyce trying to work down the end line. Bolton cleared it away. Ball out of play. Goal kick for Lander once more. Tyler Bolton able to shield Joyce away as the senior tried to make a run, and the clock will stop again. 10 minutes and 2 seconds showing on the clock.
And the ball pushed away. You saw Tyler Bolton stand up and push the ball toward the corner, and I'll try and allow for the clock to try and tick down. Casey Black saw what was happening and stops the clock to give North Georgia every opportunity. This is a championship game. You don't want any time wasting.
And credit Casey Black and his crew thus far in this match. Again, not been the story of the match. There's been some calls made, but nothing has overshadowed what's been a great match as Young's tackled as he tried to run down the far side. Ball out of play off of the sophomore, throw in Nighthawks.
The officials have been part of the story of the game, but they have not been the story. The big story being the video replay that has the goal on the board for Lander. Nothing conclusive on the video replay to be able to flip it over to a scoreless match again, but Lander doing just enough to squeak one just inches past the line.
Credit this Peach Belt Conference staff that has been manning the cameras all weekend long. The shot from midfield, Molly Johnson working that one this evening, and there's also been a second camera down along the Bearcat goal, which has given us some fine angles of the match as North Georgia has worked their way into another corner kick now. This will be their 6th of the night, and with 8:55 to go, the Nighthawks looking to knot this match up.
And look at all the numbers that the Nighthawks are throwing forward. Only Dan Joyce and Matt Sharman staying back.
Ball played in, headed back away from the 18. A second pass lofted in. Save made by Cowdroy as he goes full extension towards the far post. Kept that one in play, and goal kick coming up for Lander.
Jordan Day with a great try at the far post from where we are. Dan Bennett threw a nice ball back in after the corner kick came out to him.
Corentin de Mutin set to check in for Lander. Sophomore out of France, de Mutin has played in 14 matches this year, 1 goal on the season. Chrétien in the box, left side, looking for space, feigns right, and his shot deflected away. Corner kick coming for the Bearcats.
And this is an opportunity for Lander to take their time getting a set piece, wind some clock down. North Georgia very dangerous here in the latter part now that they've started throwing numbers forward. Lander going to try and take a few seconds off with the substitution as well as setting up for this corner kick. And this is an interesting move by Coach Squires as they stop the clock. Chrétien coming off the pitch.
This is about the same point in the first period when Chrétien came off. De Mutin, obviously not the offensive threat that Chrétien is. He does offer you a little more size. Lander will hope that he can aid them in their defensive efforts as that one punched out of the box. Bryan got a piece of the pass off of Garcia, out of play, throw in North Georgia. 7:25 remaining. 1-0, Lander on top. Ball headed along the midfield stripe. Young's got it at his feet. A lot of traffic, and the Nighthawks poke it away, but only for a moment. Lander wanted to put a run together there as Bryan was streaking down the far sideline. Instead, Bearcats will get a throw in as Bryan adjusts his cleats. 7 minutes remaining. Lander up 1-0 on North Georgia. Lund going to fire from long range, and Sharman covers that one up. Now wants to get a run out going as he sends it to Joyce. Joyce passing into the middle. Nighthawks looking for space. And a whistle at midfield. Foul on Young as Achimovic took a tumble.
You know, there are a lot of teams anxiously watching this game. In the thoughts that if North Georgia wins, somebody's going to get knocked out. Lincoln Memorial sitting at that number 6 spot, Wingate at number 4, Lenore Ryan at number 2, Limestone at number 1. Those are 4 teams outside of the Peach Belt Conference that there's only 2 automatic bids for. Lander and Young Harris currently in for the Peach Belt. If the rankings stay the same right now, Lander with the automatic bid would ensure their spot. Then Young Harris would have to worry a little bit, especially if somebody outside of the top 6 ended up winning the SAC or Conference Carolinas.
Cowdroy will have a goal kick with 5:51 to go. Sophomore from Australia sends that one long. Header won by Bennett. Nighthawks trying to create an offensive attack. The Wingate Bulldogs won the South Atlantic Championship earlier today, 2-1 double overtime victory over the Royals of Queens University. So Wingate is in as the South Atlantic's automatic qualifier.
And they sat at number 4 coming in, so that means Lenore Rhine sitting at number 2 and a hosting spot, not in that championship match, obviously, so they'll probably end up dropping as Atkins' shot goes off the crossbar.
Another opportunity still for the Nighthawks. Ball in front of the goal, being kicked around. Lander clears it away, but only for a moment. Another sliding tackle made, a header now. Bolton sends it high in the air, but not very far. North Georgia still trying to mount an attack with 4:30 to go. Another shot off the crossbar.
The woodwork getting beat up.
Limestone, by the way, has won the Conference Carolina tournament, so the Saints are in and they're probably hosting.
So they would likely be the number 1 seed. Wingate could move up to number 3 or number 2, depending on how the Regional Advisory Committee looks at it, with Young Harris losing in the semis and Lenore Rhine before that.
Ball lofted in, headed the wrong way, and it'll head towards the corner. North Georgia saved it.
That's great effort shown by Alex Grant on the far side.
I think it was DeMutin who didn't see him coming, and Lander boots it out of play. Bearcats entered the match 5th in the NCAA Southeast Regional. They're ranked 23rd nationally. Entered the tournament as a bubble team that you figure had a better chance of getting in than not, depending on how the conference championships went. Trying to win a tournament title here. Shot on the way, deflected into the net, off of a Bearcat, and North Georgia's knotted the score with 3:24 to go. A ball that was deflected off of a Lander defender, and North Georgia has knotted the match with 3:24 showing in regulation. What a break for the Nighthawks as they are right back in it.
As we watch the replay, Dan Bennett just deflects it back across frame. I'm not sure if it got deflected by a Lander player. We're watching it right now. Akin to Bennett, and yes, it was deflected by a Lander player. I believe that'll end up being an own goal by George Knight. Of course, we're not the ones officially scoring this match, but that's what it looks like. And now a word on the far side with the AR and lead official, and don't think we need video replay for that goal. It was easily in the net. It's just a question of if it's an own goal or the goal credited to Bennett.
And I guarantee you the Nighthawk faithful don't care. They're on the board, 1-1 with 3:24 remaining.
And how big was that? You're pushing numbers forward, and now Lander going to try and get this one in regulation. Chrétien coming back onto the pitch, and he's been dangerous on that left side all day, but in this second half on the far side.
He created the opportunity for Lund's goal that put the Bearcats up in the 71st minute. The momentum wearing gray and blue right now.
But a lot of time left, Rickson. 3 minutes, plenty of time to score a goal.
An eternity with 3:05 showing on the clock.
Officially credited an own goal.
Pass up ahead to Lofts. Lofts going to fire. Sharman made the save. Ball still free. Chrétien will chase it down beyond the box. Lander tries to reset. Hesitation from Brock. Brock looking for a white jersey. Gets it to Young. Shielded away. Ball's free along the near sideline. Young able to save it. Cannot get to it on the near side. Out of play. Goal kick for North Georgia.
How big has Matt Sharman been in this second half? He has made save after save after save for the Nighthawks.
6 saves on the evening for the junior keeper. 1-1 with 2:20 to go. Now 7 saves for Sharman. Doesn't get a great kick as Jamadar tries to win the header. And ahead to Young. He's onside. He'll slow down, come to a standstill almost, and his pass into the box deflected away.
If you're North Georgia, you're not exactly playing for overtime, but you're not going to complain if it gets there, considering you were down a goal with just over 3 minutes left.
Deep pass ahead. Chrétien and Jamadar were in the vicinity, but North Georgia clears it. Now a fight for positioning as Grant wins it with his feet. Over to Akin. Brock chasing him. Knight trying to come in and win the ball and does so. And then Knight misplays it off his foot. Skelton, pass it far side, Bryan. Akin is there and he pokes it out of bounds.
Hear Coach Parrish yelling not to settle. Still a lot of time left, 70 seconds in regulation, and if needed, golden goal format where you'll play 20 more minutes at most. Jared Smalley going to check on for Daniel Joyce. Of course, you do get one re-entry in the second half, so try and give Joyce just the extra little bit of rest as he's made a lot of great runs on the near side. Here's Chrétien.
40 seconds remaining in regulation. Nighthawks with a long pass. Skelton heads it. Knight continues to push it down the pitch. And now a deep pass, and Lund wasn't ready to make the run. And Sharman will play it at his feet. 25 seconds left in regulation.
And you notice that Dan Bennett telling Sharman to settle down. We're not in any hurry. We've got new life. We get the last opportunity at it as well.
Pass ahead, too strong, and Cowdroy will usher it towards the end line before playing it at his feet. 90 minutes for the second consecutive year, and for the second time this season between the Nighthawks and Bearcats. It's not enough. We're going to overtime at Blanchard Woods Park in Evans, Georgia. Extra soccer coming up from the Peach Belt Conference Tournament Championship. You're watching live on the PBC Network.
1-1 after 90 minutes of play here at Blanchard Woods Park in Evans. We play overtime for a second consecutive year in the conference championship and the third year out of the last 4. And Lander and North Georgia have given us an absolute dandy of a match through 90 minutes. And Rickson, a video replay for the first goal and own goal for the second goal. It's been a night of just some weird scoring between two extremely well-matched teams.
And in between those two goals, roughly 89 shots that have hit a post or a crossbar. This game has been decided, literally a game of inches so far this evening between North Georgia and Lander. I got to tell you, Walker, going into this overtime period, you feel like, at least from here, the momentum is with the Nighthawks. This is a team that's got nothing to lose. They win, their season continues. They lose, it's over. Lander's in a spot where you were 3 minutes away from breaking through and winning a tournament championship in your third consecutive try. Now you've got to regroup, and this is going to be a test for Lee Squires Club. How do they handle knowing you were so close? Now you've got to regroup and realize still an opportunity to win, but you have got to set a tone here early on in this opening 10 minutes.
Two things I noticed in between the periods and the 5-minute intermission in between the two periods for North Georgia. Daniel Bennett really trying to get behind his team, the senior from Sutton Coldfield, England, yelling, you cannot give up at this point. You cannot give up. If you're going to give up, stay on the bench. If you're not, or if you're going to stay with me, get on the field and let's go and win this game. For Lander, they were much more mute, calm, cool, and collected. They've been to overtime once this year already. Took advantage of a foul in the early minutes of overtime in Dahlonega on a set piece, found the goal to get the 1-0 win over the Nighthawks in Dahlonega. Now, a lot more pressure on both teams here. Championship game. Lander trying to win their first one, like you said. North Georgia, nothing to lose in their first ever championship appearance. Lander will get the first touch here. We said it at the beginning of the first half and the second half. What's the pace going to be between these two teams? Who's going to set it, and how is it going to be? Is it going to be up-tempo, or is it going to slow down as we see Chrétien for the first time come to the near side of the field?
He's going to be matched up with Achimovic on this near side, and also going to be a testament to how do these teams handle this. Does Lander come out and regroup and say, no, this is no problem, we've been here before, we know how to handle this, or are they stunned by what's happened? For North Georgia, does this moment get too big for them? You've put forth so much effort, you've put so much energy into it, or do they come out and just continue to play loose and relax, knowing no one expected them to get to this point? They're the 3 seed in the tournament, and now they're close to busting the bracket and getting into the NCAA Regional.
Achimovic can't handle it. Chrétien being beaten around by his own players, by Nighthawks, by even the field as well, as Chrétien works to the left side now. He runs into Akin, just a foul called as Akin impeded his progress. Lander with a free kick opportunity. Of course, here in overtime period, 2 10-minute periods in golden goal format. A score ends the match. If we get through 20 minutes, still tied at 1, we will go to penalty kicks for the second consecutive year here in the Peach Belt Conference Championship match. We are a minute through the first overtime period. Here comes the free kick for Lander. I said that. Now they hesitate a little bit more. Brock sends it in. Looking back post, the offside flag goes up, and North Georgia stays away from the first set piece from Lander, what did them in overtime last year.
They're trying to work it to George Knight along the near side here in the top of the box area, and offside flag goes up. Shots in favor of North Georgia, 15-13. Both teams with 8 shots on goal. Both keepers have made 7 saves. 7 corner kicks for North Georgia, 6 for the Bearcats, 4 offsides calls against North Georgia, 2 against Lander. There have been 30 fouls, 16 against Nighthawks, 14 against Lander.
Akin, his shot going toward the back post. Achimovic was unable to get there. It stays in play. Going toward the top of the 18, deflected out as they tried to find Farrell, and Lander starting a counter as it looks like Tyler Bolton slow to get up for the Bearcats. They move quickly up top. Jamie Lunn, marked by Bennett, comes out wide for Chrétien. He'll take a shot, and had there been field goal posts there, Rickson, that one might have been through. We've had the football analogies throughout the broadcast here today, we might as well add one more in.
Well, Sharman needs to stay on his toes. Chrétien this year on the road at Anderson, he fired one from just inside the circle at midfield and buried it in the upper right 90. He's not afraid to lock in and try to fire one from long range, and he's been successful at times this year.
Akin tries to touch it over the top of the Great Wall of Lander. Now Jordan Day over the top. Akin will give chase. He's onside. George Knight going to mark him. Akin's cross low and deflected out. It'll be a corner kick for North Georgia as they'll send numbers forward.
Well, that Great Wall punched a hole in itself with 3 minutes to go off the own goal in North Georgia. They had the ball with Bennett, the defender. He's the one who fired the shot that resulted in that goal, and now here comes a set piece for the Nighthawks with 6:53 in the first overtime.
Dowdy and Evan Davis come up from their defensive back spots. Davis heads it back toward Bennett. Bennett tried to go across the top of the 18. Dowdy deflects it back out to Jared Smalley, who will send it out wide, trying to find Garcia. Garcia not very tall. The junior stands at 5'7", and he couldn't keep that one in play as it was about a foot higher than he wanted it to be.
Lander about to send DeMutin back into the match. He came on late as a quasi-defensive replacement for the Bearcats in the final 7 minutes and then checked back out. He's subbed in for Chrétien earlier, but this time I think they're going to get Tyler Bolton out, who was shaken up a couple minutes ago, and Bolton's going to come to the bench. DeMutin will check in, and he'll throw in for Lander, and North Georgia's going to counter with the junior forward from Wolverhampton, England, Alex Grant.
Grant going to come on. We'll see who he replaces. It'll be Dan Bennett, and he looks over at Coach Paris. He didn't want to come off, and the senior possibly playing in his last match as a Nighthawk, the first-team all-conference defender, he didn't want to come off, and I'm sure Coach Paris is just trying to get him a break before what could be a second overtime period and possibly penalty kicks, because I would imagine that Bennett going to try and take the PKs, having taken 2 already this year.
Well, he came to the bench with his palms toward the sky as if he wanted an explanation, and he was still, as a moment ago, still talking with the assistant coaches, trying to find out why he's not on the pitch anymore. Another opportunity for the Nighthawks, and we talked about setting a tone. North Georgia has seized the momentum and been the aggressors early in this first overtime session, and here comes another opportunity for a set piece.
Sent in. Adam Dowdy heads it, but it comes out. Achimovic trying to settle it. Gives it back to Farrell. Farrell to the top of the 18 trying to find Grant. Ball out to Garcia. Garcia out wide. Again crossed in, looking at the top of the 18, and again, Lander deflects it out. Chrétien trying to get there. Achimovic will get a touch, but Akin unable to get there. Great defense by Adam Farrell. Now Michael Akin looking inside Ivan Achimovic. Akin went down to the ground. Here's Ludwig Eriksson earning, well, I thought he might have earned a corner kick, but it deflected off of him right after. Not to look forward, Rickson, but North Georgia 3 of 6 this year on penalty kicks. They have been, I wouldn't say deficient in the category, but not as well as they would like. Ludwig Eriksson 1 for 1 and Adam Farrell 2 for 2 in the category.
On the opposite side for Lander, the good news for the Bearcats, they're 4 for 4 on PKs this year. The bad news, Jordan Skelton can't take all of them. He's 4 for 4 this year. No one else for the Bearcats has attempted one this season. And no matter how much Lee Squires protests, number 4 is not going to be able to shoot it 5 times. They're going to have to find someone else.
Well, and while that might be a con in some senses, it's also a pro in that nobody's on film except Skelton for taking penalties.
We've got a lot to play before we get to that possibility, however. I tell you what, Walker, how about the sliding tackle from Farrell minutes ago when Chrétien tried to make a run? Could have saved an opportunity.
Going out wide, Smalley going to have to hustle to mark for North Georgia. Ball being played in. It goes all the way through. Sam Lofts giving chase, but how about Matt Sharman coming off his line, making the sliding stop, and he'll throw it out wide to Jared Smalley to try and start a counter on the far side. Trying to work it up to Michael Akin, who has been nothing short of stellar for the Nighthawks. And they'll earn a throw. The speed from the senior from London, England, transfer from Lake Tahoe Community College, has been near perfect. Achimovic with a touch. It was a little bit behind Alex Grant. Now Chrétien going to try and beat Alex Grant, and a foul going to be called on the junior.
Chrétien's size playing a little to his advantage, I think, there when he hits the dirt, because he's typically significantly smaller than his counterparts. It sometimes looks maybe a little worse than it actually was.
Missed clearance. Richard Bryan outside. Now here's Cox Ashwood trying to cross it in. It's deflected by Sharman and went all the way across the frame. A dangerous position for the ball to be. Lander still on the attack. Trying to get it down into the corner, wide open to bring into the 18. North Georgia trying to defend, and they do so momentarily, and finally the line cleared as Akin will give chase. Now here's Michael Akin, and he's trying to keep it himself, cutting him off with Skelton. Lander has an opportunity here. They make a move down the sidelines, and a foul. Clock stopped, and a lot of pushing and shoving. Yellow card comes out on Ludwig Eriksson, I believe.
Yeah, he brought Young down from behind, and both got up in one another's face afterward.
Also coming over, Robbie Young, as there was pushing and shoving late. And I bet Robbie Young got one too as the card went up a second time.
If he did, then that's the 9th yellow card of the match. That would be 4 on North Georgia and 5 on Lander.
That also, of course, includes the yellow to Lee Squires as Daniel Joyce waiting to check in. North Georgia going to put all 11 back. A set piece is what did the Nighthawks in the regular season from about this position.
And it was Young, number 16, that did it off a pass from Brock, who's set to take the kick.
3-person wall set up for North Georgia, at least that. Hard to tell from our angle. Brock set to take it. And Sharman coming up big as it was right on goal, and Sharman bending over nearly backwards once he caught it to keep it outside of the frame.
Bearcats have not often let Brock take a shot from that point. He's typically passing it. And that time, I think he tried to catch Sharman napping there, and Sharman able to snag it just under the post.
Under 2 minutes to play here in the first overtime period. Rami Bakey coming over to Pat Paris. Ludwig Eriksson playing a little bit more conservatively now on the yellow. Now here's Achimovic. Garcia was taken down hard from behind, no whistle. Now Michael Akin, a heavy touch, and the ball sent right back in. Adam Dowdy will send it out wide. Smalley going to get there before it gets to the sideline. Now Smalley going up top for Akin. Akin on sides. He's beating all the Bearcat defenders to it. The senior from London crossing it in. Back post, Achimovic wasn't ready. It goes across the end line. We're about 60 seconds away from a second overtime, Rickson.
Another great job of North Georgia. They quickly get the ball from one end of the pitch to the other. As you see 2 more Nighthawks checking in. So they'll go with Baki and Joyce. Lander likely going to get one final shot here as Cowdroy going to milk a little clock and try to allow his team to set up for one final attack here in the first overtime.
Bakey for Grant. Joyce for Smalley. Jordan Day sends it downfield. Bakey going to bring some of that same kind of speed that Michael Akin has. Played some good minutes on Friday, replacing Grant after he went out with injury. Lander with one more opportunity here, 22 seconds, now 20. Chrétien standing wide open on the near side. They work it up the far. A missed clearance by Adam Dowdy, but Jordan Day will settle it for North Georgia. Now we're at 10 seconds. North Georgia going to try one last go at it. Bakey giving chase. Cleared out by Skelton, and that'll be the end of the first overtime period. Both teams had great opportunities, Rickson, but we'll play 10 more. And, I mean, I don't know that there's a better way to try and decide this championship as I've said it multiple times, these two teams very evenly matched on the pitch.
I mean, you just look at the stats, 15-14 in terms of shots. Shots on goal are 8-8, 7-7 in saves, 4-3 in offsides. I mean, 4-3 in yellow cards. This match has been incredibly tight, wire to wire, and it's only fitting we're going to get at least 10 more minutes here and try to decide a champion in the full pitch before we go perhaps to penalty kicks.
And, of course, only 2 minutes in between periods, so we'll keep it here. These two teams off the crossbar, off the post. A shot by Oliver Brock almost put this game away in overtime without a save from the first-team all-conference goalkeeper Matt Sharman. The season's over for the Nighthawks, and Lander gets the AQ. Now these two teams will play 10 more minutes, and Caldroy's played well. Sharman's played well. Both defenses have played well under very, very difficult situations. Now here comes the chess match, because not only do these two coaches have to try and think about winning this one in these 10 minutes, they've also got to think about, okay, I want to have the people on the field that I want to take the penalty kicks, so at what point do the chess pieces really start to move between Lee Squires and Pat Paris?
Here in the second overtime session, we'll see if it plays out the way the first one did. Early on, it was really somewhat of a mirror image of what we saw in the match. Early on, North Georgia, attack after attack after attack. Lander's defense having to hold up. The end of that 10-minute period, it was the Bearcats who started to put some things together. North Georgia was having to hold off Lander and try to counter quickly at the other end. They nearly did so a couple of times. We'll see in the second 10-minute period, because now, Walker, all the excitement and the energy from the end of regulation, that's gone now.
Yep.
Now everyone's starting to feel, hey, we're about to play. We've played 100 minutes today. We've played 190 this weekend. Now we have to go play perhaps 10 more. You're going to have to really see these players. They got to dig deep in the reserves now and try to find the energy to finish this matchup, because the adrenaline they felt 15 minutes ago, that's gone now. Now everyone's tired.
Well, and I think where you have to find that energy for both teams, starting with Lander, you haven't won a conference championship in the tournament in this is the third chance. In 2 consecutive chances, you haven't been able to pull it out. You went to overtime once last year. You've been in this position before. You know what it's going to take. For North Georgia, you have the motivation in that you've never been here. You're playing for your tournament, not only your tournament life, but also your season's life in this final 10 minutes. So both these teams fighting a little bit of different emotions and, the will to want to win for different reasons. Again, North Georgia trying to extend their season. Lander probably into the NCAA tournament at this point. Their season not over, but they're trying to win a tournament championship for the first time.
And it's such a difference, and it's such a soap opera here with these two competing storylines. And for North Georgia, this is potentially a program-defining moment if you can find a way to complete this run. And for Lander, quite honestly, under Lee Squires, this could be a defining match if you win it, because the knock on the Bearcats since Lee Squires has been there, they've won a lot of matches, 40 wins now in 2+ seasons, have not won a conference tournament championship, have not won an NCAA match. Can you win the big match with the spotlight on you? As Akin tries to start it early. Oh, and Dean Caldroy, a little lackluster there. Bearcat fans are hoping he knew that was out of play, because he just tapped it off his foot, and storming in was Bakey, and the whistle didn't come immediately.
I wonder if we can get some video replay on that, because that was, whew.
Well, can we get a heart monitor on Lee Squires when that ball was being played in front of the net with no one there to defend it? Opening minute of this second overtime period. Rickson Lane, Walker McCrary with you. Glad to have you join us. It has been brilliant soccer this evening from Lander and North Georgia here at Blanchard Woods Park in Evans, Georgia, the Peach Belt Conference Tournament Championship. So Skelton will try to send one long for Lander and get an offensive attack started, as Cox Ashwood, I believe he'll be whistled for a foul as he went up for the header. Bearcats reached this match via a 5-1 win over Clayton State, 5 unanswered goals after falling behind early. North Georgia did not trail in this tournament until tonight. They knocked off USC Aiken 3-0, beat Young Harris 3-0 in the semifinals before falling behind late in the second period tonight against Lander, but the Nighthawks rallied via a great attack opportunity from Bennett and what ultimately was ruled an own goal against Lander. The Bearcats trying to make a run. Ball cleared away by Joyce. Now it goes to the feet of Robbie Young. He had the game winner in the earlier matchup this season between these two teams in overtime. Young, top of the box, going to roll it. Sharman easily slides right and scoops it up.
And, of course, anytime a shot's going to go toward the net, there's going to be a collective gasp as we wait and see if the ball will find the net. And you look around the stadium, other than the bleachers on the other side, there's not many people sitting. Not the players, the coaches, some fans right here to our right.
Young, another opportunity. He's going to lob it left side. Demutin trying to track it down. Waiting for the cavalry to come. Demutin tripped up, well played on the back by Daniel Joyce. He boots it away. Knight off his foot. Now to Skelton. Skelton lobs it right side. That's Chrétien. He'll chest it and control the ball. Chrétien's got Bryan racing behind him. Ball over to Bryan. Bryan going to curl it in. Was looking for Cox Ashwood, but off target, and Sherman's there to grab that one as well.
Rick said it's been interesting, the chess piece that's already been moved around in this overtime period for Lee Squires, moving Chrétien from the left to the right side. He played the left side the full 90 minutes, and right before the start of that first overtime period, he went to the right side, giving Evan Davis on the far side something to have to worry about.
Well, and Davis also has to deal with Bryan, who's not afraid to get down the pitch and put himself into offensive mode as North Georgia tries to rally to the ball, and they'll send it along the line, out of play, throw into Lander with 6:35 remaining in our second overtime session. A goal ends it. Bearcats throw it into Chrétien, being chased down from behind, a little hand fighting, and North Georgia pokes it free. A race for the ball on the back line. Cowdroy will take it. He's got options around him as North Georgia presses forward. It was Bakey who was coming and applying a little token pressure to the Bearcat keeper. Another lob right side. Cox Ashwood able to save it in, and this is Chrétien. Chrétien racing towards the center, weaving back. He now tries to get it to Bryan. Bryan to Young. Young going to fire, and it's wide, but it was deflected. No, it was not deflected. Pardon me. Our far side official went racing down the sideline. I thought he was going to point his flag towards the corner. Instead, a goal kick for Sharman with 5:45 to go in double overtime.
You see Lee Squires making another move. Jamie Lund going to come back on at the next available opportunity for the Bearcats. And just like that, Pat Paris brings Mateus Abreu to the center line.
Now here comes North Georgia. Akin, far left side, switching feet. Ball poked away, and Cowdroy will collect it to the right of the post with 5:17 remaining. Rolls it out to Demutin near side. Demutin ahead to Young. Young looking to work into the middle, and he does so. Three gray shirts coming over to greet him. So he'll poke it right to Jamadar. Bearcats work it from near to far side. Bryan with the ball at his feet. Finds a streaking Chrétien. Chrétien hesitates. Now cuts in left. Chrétien, pass it left side. Shot attempt will not be taken at the moment. Now Brock's shot attempt is deflected. And that will be a corner kick for the Bearcats with 4:43 to go. Brock fired, and it was deflected away by a Nighthawk defender.
Lund and Abreu get to check in here, get some fresh legs on for both sides. This is an opportunity for Lander to put the game away. They've been great in set pieces all year. Let's see if the Nighthawk defense can hold for one more time, at least for right now.
Cox Ashwood off for Lander for the Nighthawks. Can't quite see who that is. Brock curls it in right in front of the post. Sharman went up for it, and he took it away.
That's Ivan Achimovic coming off for the Nighthawks.
Now quickly, here come the Nighthawks right side. Lander trying to flood the back with white jerseys. A tackle from behind.
That'll stop the clock.
Stop with 3:55.
There's only one reason the clock's going to stop there, and that's
a card.
Yeah.
That's on Richard Bryan. I believe that's who it'll be called against, and so Bryan will pick up the card. That is the 9th of the evening. We earlier thought that Robbie Young had picked up a card. They did not credit him with one. So officially now 9 cards, 4 against North Georgia, 4 against Landers players, and 1 against Landers coach. Free kick for the Nighthawks with just under 4 minutes to go in the second overtime session.
I think it's Garcia taking it.
They take it from the near or the far sideline. Ball sent in, headed back. North Georgia still got a chance. Ball hit high, and that one's going to get over the netting and off the roof of the concessions and restrooms. And Lander boots it out of play as North Georgia sends Grant back onto the pitch.
Replacing Bakey, who gave some great speed up top, giving Grant an opportunity to take a breather. Had a couple of great opportunities running in and putting pressure on that back line for the Bearcats.
3:20 to go in double overtime. Whistle against North Georgia as Lander was fighting to control a header. Neither team is wasting much time here setting up for these kicks following fouls. Time is precious now with 3:05 remaining.
Neither team wants to go to penalty kicks because that is some of the most stressful times in the game of soccer.
Chrétien's got it on the right side. North Georgia collapsed on him and knocked it out of play. Throw in Bearcats, 2:50 to go. Can cut the tension with a knife here at Blanchard Woods Park. Lander and North Georgia, the 1 and the 3 seeds in the tournament. Double overtime for a conference championship. Long throw in from Bryant. Headed away by the Nighthawk defense. Well done by North Georgia. Now they want to run. Trying to work it to Grant. Near side to Mutin is there as they work it to Akin. Akin with 3 white jerseys around him. Ball out of play. Lunn was able to knock it off of Akin. Throw in Bearcats, 2:19 to go. DeMutin sent it into Knight, who didn't see it, but no pressure from North Georgia. Now Skelton's got it at his feet, the Bearcat captain. Send it wide. We approach 2 minutes remaining in double overtime. Now a long pass ahead. They were trying to send a deep ball to Lund. Ball headed straight away. Nighthawks fighting for it. Akin got a piece of it. He sends it towards midfield. Another fight for a header. The Nighthawks still trying to work it into an attack. They'll finally get it to Akin. Everyone's slowed down as if they're waiting for a whistle, and Cowdroy's way out. He's got it at his feet, and he'll send it deep. Dangerous, aggressive play there by Cowdroy. 1:35 to go double overtime.
What a great touch by Gabe Garcia off the chest to Akin.
Akin, pass is deflected away. Oh, and Lander bailed out by Skelton. A misplay on the back line by Jamadar, it looked like. Akin sends the pass ahead. Breakaway for the Nighthawks. Shot deflected out of bounds. It's going to be a throw-in to Lander with 1:10 to go. North Georgia wanted a whistle.
I don't know if a whistle needed to be blown there, but hard to see how Lander is going to get that throw with all the deflections that were there. I'm not sure who touched it last.
Bearcats in dangerous territory here. Ball deep in their own end. Cowdroy sent it away. Akin had it for a moment. Lund trying to fight for possession. He gives it off to Young. Young wants to run near sideline. Bearcats looking for space. One touch ahead to Lund. Lund, 3 defenders around him. Back it goes to Young. Young brought down and a whistle with 35 seconds to go. Clock continues to run. Lander might get one more chance.
This could be the last opportunity at it. They're going to try and take it quickly, and the Nighthawks standing in front now. Casey Black will stop the clock just a 1/10 of a second under 26 to back them up 10 yards and allow for this opportunity to happen.
Brock will take it. Lander's got one defender back in midfield. It's Brian. Cowdroy is up in midfield as well. He can only watch. Brock curls it in. High, punched out by Sharman. Corner kick is going to come for Lander, but they got to hurry. 19 seconds to go. Brock is not going to take it. Looks like this may be Young. 13 seconds to go. Ball sent in. Left of the post. Headed away. Lander will get one more chance at a corner. Brock's got to hurry. 3 seconds to go. Sends it in. Ball on the way. Headed in. Did it beat the buzzer? They say no. They say it did not beat the buzzer. Lander headed it in right as time expired. They said no goal initially. Did Casey Black, our head official?
Casey Black pointing toward midfield. I'm not sure if they're going to give the goal or not. Now they're going to have an opportunity. I think they might go to video replay, but they won't be able to see a clock on the screen.
That's the problem. There's no clock on the scoreboard. Casey Black waved it off immediately after Oliver Brock ran over to get a corner kick.
See if we can hear the horn through our microphones. Can't hear the horn, so you're not going to be able to have any kind of video evidence to overturn that one either. And so, Rickson, this is an interesting storyline in that you had no evidence to overturn a possible goal over there. You have no evidence from what we can tell to overturn a no goal at the end of the second overtime period, and now we'll go to PKs.
It was George Knight who headed it in for the Bearcats, and you're right, as we tried to listen in, you cannot hear the horn. And as we mentioned on the scoreboard, the video doesn't do any good because there's no clock on the scoreboard here. Oh, my goodness, what a match we have had.
Wow.
They have packed about as much as they can into 110 minutes, and it's not been enough. We're going to go to PKs, and Lander, for the second consecutive season, will try to win a conference tournament title in penalty kicks. And Walker, as you mentioned, entering tonight, North Georgia is 3 for 6 on the year in PKs. They've had a couple different players take cracks at it. It's not been something they've excelled at. Lander is a perfect 4 for 4, but Jordan Skelton has taken all 4 of them.
Yeah, that's something that we mentioned, that Skelton, the only player to have taken one for Lander. Pros and cons of that, you feel confident in Jordan Skelton taking the penalty kick, but for the con side, he's the only player.
And here is a storyline that's going to be fascinating to watch. Last year, Dean Cowdroy, the 5'8" freshman then keeper for Lander, pulled for penalty kicks. Lander went with Charlie Dixon, who stood 6'3". The Bearcats are pulling Cowdroy again. They're going with Alexander Holbo, the freshman from Oslo, Norway. He's started 5 matches, I believe, this year. He's of larger stature. He is less experienced, but Lee Squires is going to go with the taller, lengthier goalkeeper here for his penalty kicks. Penalty kick shootout here in Blanchard Woods Park.
One team to the next after 5 rounds. If we are still tied, we'll enter a sudden victory phase, where the first team to gain an advantage will win the championship.
You notice, Rickson, both of us being social media guys for each other's teams, we're both trying to get stuff sent out on Twitter because the fans that aren't able to watch this one, they're keeping up with it on phones, as we're well aware. And, I mean, this is heart-pounding moments for both teams, both coaches, a conference championship on the line, like you said, for the second consecutive year in penalty kicks. Huge storylines to follow here. North Georgia trying to extend their season. Lander trying to win their first one. They've also got Holbo in between the posts for the first time in this game. The freshman, you've got to imagine that there's some sort of nerves, especially when you're facing penalty kicks with a conference championship on the line.
Lander is going with Brian Skelton, Folger, Brock, and Jamadar. North Georgia sending out Bennett, Grant, Achimovich, and Linsar comes off, replaced by Farrell. And I'm trying to get the number of the 5th North Georgia shooter. It is number 10, Gabriel Garcia. Well, here we go, folks.
We're going to work down on the right side, right underneath the scoreboard.
This is where the Landers scored their second half goal. This is also the direction that North Georgia scored their 3 first half goals against Young Harris. We will begin with the Bearcats as they will try to solve the riddle of Matt Sharman, who has been stellar tonight. And he will face the captain, Jordan Skelton. Well, how's your Sunday night going? Penalty kicks to decide a tournament title. Skelton and Sharman, pardon me, will begin it. Skelton with the right foot. Into the net, left side. Sharman guessed wrong, and Lander takes the first opportunity and buries it.
It'll be Gabe Garcia for the Nighthawks. The junior transfer from Brevard. Veneto, Brazil native.
Shooting for North Georgia is number 10, Gabriel Garcia.
He'll face Holbo. Holbo's first shot faced in this penalty kick. Silence. You can hear a pin drop at Blanchard Woods Park. The whistle from Casey Black. Garcia approaches, shoots, scores. He goes left. Holbo guessed correctly, but it's outside of the outstretched arms of Holbo.
So 1-1 our score. Holbo will step aside. Sharman will deal with Richard Bryan. Bryan, a junior from Enfield, England. So he prepares to take on Sharman. There's the whistle. Shot in. Sharman guessed to his left once more, and Bryan put it right.
Now walking up for the Nighthawks. Looks like Adam Farrell. Adam Farrell, the junior from Dublin, Ireland. A number of goals scored for Coach Pat Paris this season. There's the whistle. He approaches, shoots, scores. He goes upper 90, and that's a dangerous spot to put a PK, but a statement made by Adam Farrell.
Well done there by Farrell, and we're even at 2. So 4 shots, 4 makes thus far, and now Lander goes with Oliver Brock, junior from Mansfield, England. Brock does not have a goal this season. He has 10 assists, which leads the Bearcat team.
Again, the silence.
Here we go. He goes high and gets it under the crossbar. Lander has worked to the right side of the net, and that one was in the middle, and Sharman has guessed left every time. 3-2 Bearcats.
From North Georgia,
Ivan Achimovic, the senior from Belgrade, Serbia. Looks like he'll go with the left foot. Takes 5-6 steps back. Awaits the whistle from Casey Black. Holbo jumping on the end line. Achimovic's shot in the back of the net. Again, Holbo guessed correctly, but Ivan Achimovic keeps it tied 3-3.
So at 3-3 is Asaya Jamadar, junior from Patia, Sweden.
Next for Lander, number 18.
Everything Lander's done so far, they've gone to Sharman's right twice, and then Brock went directly ahead, but high. Sharman's dove left all 3 shot attempts. Here's Jamadar. Snuck it inside the left post. Sharman guessed correctly. The Bearcats make it 4-3.
Walking up for the Nighthawks, Alex Grant.
Next up for the Nighthawks is number 9.
The junior from Wolverhampton, England. Waiting on the whistle from Casey Black. There it is. Grant approaches. Shot, and he made Holbo guess incorrectly, and Smooth put it in the back of the net. We're still tied, Rickson.
4-4, and Outlander will go to Ian Folger. Folger.
Next up for Lander is number 5, Ian Folger.
Senior from Haverhill, England. He scored 2 goals, a career-high 2 goals, against Clayton State on Friday night as he goes against Sharman. It's the whistle. Froze Sharman as he put it right side, and it's 5-4. A save from Holbo will end it here.
You hear the Lander reserves trying to cheer on the freshman goalkeeper, Alexander Holbo, the freshman from Oslo.
Next up for the Nighthawks, number 8,
Daniel Bennett, the senior. He'll try and extend this match. Shot, goal, and the match will continue. 5-5 your score. And so the next set of 5 will march on for the Nighthawks. Jamie Lunn will be the next to go for the Bearcats.
The first team to gain an advantage will win the 2017 PBC Men's Soccer Tournament Championship.
So the Bearcats will start with Jamie Lunn, senior from Larborth, Scotland. Lunn scored earlier this evening. His attempt is in the back of the net. He went right. Sharman guessed incorrectly. Now the pressure falls on North Georgia.
It'll be Jared Smalley. 6-5. Haven't had it. A moment that hasn't been silent. Smalley's PK in the net. He went middle. Holbo goes right.
So this will be Lars Kveseth, freshman from Gjøvik, Norway.
The Nighthawks yelling at Sharman, saying he doesn't want it, trying to get into the head.
Here comes Kveseth, the freshman. And he rolled it past Sharman. A little off speed there from Kveseth, and Sharman dove right, and the freshman did want it, and it's 7-6.
Jordan Day, he scored the 3rd goal of the evening 2 nights ago. Has a chance to extend North Georgia's season here.
Holbo will adjust the shin guards.
Again, gamesmanship. Day puts it in. Nice, calm, cool, and collected. Gave the little fist pump. We haven't seen a lot of emotion from any of these penalty kick takers. Day with just a little fist pump to try and get his team to have a little more energy.
This is Alexander Cox-Ashwood, freshman from Wittenheim, France. Second consecutive Bearcat freshman to shoot. Sharman wipes off the face with the sleeve. Cox-Ashwood awaiting the whistle. And he gets it. Put it in. Sharman guessing right the last couple of opportunities, and Bearcats have all gone left. And Cox Ashwood puts Lander back on top once more.
North Georgia, number 13,
Carl Ludwig Eriksson, the junior from Uppsala, Sweden. There's the whistle. Luda, his shot, he rolls it in. He goes to the fans and gives a fist pump. Again, North Georgia fighting for their lives. And now Chrétien will take the next one for Lander.
Thibaut Chrétien, Peach Belt Conference co-freshman of the year, freshman from Laval, France. A slow walk for Chrétien. Sharman stands about 5 feet in front of the net waiting for him. Now he backs up to the line. Short walk back for Chrétien, just 3 steps. Angled left. Shot in. He went high and into the upper left 90. And Chrétien puts his face in his hands and fist pumps and exhales. 9-8 Bearcats.
That one rose quickly. I think he thought it might have hit the crossbar off the foot.
Neither goalie has touched a shot through the first 17 opportunities.
Ozer's had trouble this year on the PKs, 0 for 2. And he hits the crossbar.
The Lander Bearcats, your 2017 Peach Belt Conference Tournament champions for the 5th time. The hardware is going to Greenwood. What a match. What a tournament. And what a championship. Walker, I don't know what else to say, buddy.
I mean, you saw how evenly these two teams were, and it's one of those that when you get into PK, somebody's got to lose. It's going to be heartbreaking for either team, and Lander finally gets through and wins the conference championship, but you've got to tip your cap to North Georgia. They put everything on the line. A 9-8 decision in PKs. And heartbreak on the sideline for North Georgia, but I mean you can't give you can't take away any credit from what this Nighthawk team did tonight. They kept fighting, earned a goal, albeit by an own goal, to get back into the game, and they were able to withstand overtime and at least make Lander sweat a lot here in this one.
And for Lee Squires and his Lander club, vindication. They are top dog in the Peach Belt Conference. Regular season champions and tournament champions as well. And we will wrap things up from Evans, Georgia. Our thanks for tuning in all weekend long. Stay tuned as we will bring you the trophy presentations here in Blanchard Woods Park, but we'll sign off as they will hand out the trophies. North Georgia, runner-up, the Lander Bearcats victorious here in the men's tournament title match here in Evans.